and plenty of nades to work with. Saycloud might just be on target there with that one. Descends over the top, and it won't be a lot of damage needed to take Krypton out, and it will be a knockover towards Alva. And despite a massive spree coming through in this game from Alter Ego over towards Yangon Galacticos, it is the Galactic comeback coming through on the north side of the map. Very surprising that Yangon comes out of this one with the 3 players.
That's the go pistol to push up for them as well. And similarly for Moana, it's time to bail. That fight has gone no way near how they wanted it to go down. Trapped as well as he gets the overall lay of the land with the squads that are close by. He's just got to get his head down, tuck into position. It's Ida from the sideline that takes shots towards him, opens up an opportunity for Nonshin. Alpha with the nade, rolls it on target, and it is a strike from Reefus.
That is a unreal nade through the trees, through the leaves. And like a dead leaf falling, that will be the final player from Alter Ego out. Incredible stuff there. You don't see those ones every day.
No back-to-back chicken dinners to start us off. Another team will walk away with a big W on this one as the battle continues. Nice distance firefights here onto 4 Fribes as well. Good aim.
Weird location on the map, man. Ida currently looking very good from this spot, but we moved away from a lot of the more prominent compounds on the map. Regnum Kaya looking just to finish off those players down on that south side. And Power still running through with 3 players as well, so they're not down and out yet. Nongshim Red Force should be able to hold out strong on the south side though, having very, very good buildings to work with going forward. Nades over the top, they do. A little bit of damage coming through from Regnum Kaya over towards DRX, who are now opting to see if they can just swipe right on this one.
Spin out on the burst tire as well, because Ida are just firing shots down Rage. You've instantly got to try and reset from this one, but there's further damage done. Knock behind the tree. Quick bandage from Hyunbin, looking to reset himself. Easy sees that opportunity though. Clean connection back onto DRX.
But DRX trying to get through here. Nongshim Red Force wasn't going to let it happen. Al-Haji finding Hyunbin as well on the back lines there. Very, very long-range spray to make it work. Make it work, it does. There is still one building available for Regnum Guy to be playing out on the very edge of the circle. I'd be excited to see a Yangon podium finish here just because of how hard they had to fight for their lives on the north side.
It's a hefty investment from Power. They really clamored to try and steal away some points from that one. Damage is good onto DRX, but they both go down because of it, resulting in a bit of a stalemate from the crash in, only leaving one representative of Power left. It was Weibo that were able to cause issues behind that smoke wall. And then, of course, Regnum Karo, the compound high ground position as well. The nice split, Silas set up further ahead. Yeah, this is going to get more and more intense. Secret, catching vision.
This is the nice thing about Regnum Kari as well, is that we mentioned it beforehand, where they're a proactive team. They don't allow themselves to be caught up in the moment and just sit around, feet up, watching telly inside these compounds. They are very much active on the outside there. They took shots over towards Alpha Gaming. They cut out over towards that south side. It's not a crazy amount of points they're able to find this game in terms of elims, just the 3, but they've confirmed a strong spot on that southwest side. Weibo are in front of them, as you've mentioned. I'd like to see how they're going to handle this into the future, because it's some weird terrain that they'll have to push through.
For Yangon, it could be uncomfortable as Secret can actually get the angle to arc those nades over, roll it down the hillside. Spacing could be problematic. That's what you were talking about, of course. Obviously for Weibo, just a few steps ahead, just tucked in. A little bit of cover to work with, at least. You've got the detonated vehicles, and it's actually Fahedin that was the last man left for Powder. So he's just over by the tree line there.
It's very, this is why I'm saying, ooh, wow, what a shot coming through from Fahedin. A bare chance as well, and he took it immediately. This is what I mean for Regnum Kai. It's very hard because you want to take shots down towards Weibo Gaming, but as soon as you leave this compound, you're in sight lines of Ida going forwards. That next circle doesn't cut Ida out either, so now Regnum Kai has to go for something very quick. They know the exact location of Alpha Gaming though. At this point, it sort of does feel like you're going to need a crash here for Regnum Kaya. over towards that north side. I don't think it's going to be effective at all trying to wrap out over towards the east. Key down though. Maybe there's a chance on towards these two players. Play behind the car cover, but then what chances do you have later into the game? That's the real issue. So it looks like they are going to roll out over towards this north side, as I was mentioning.
And as we've seen, Ida have been able to do so much from this position.
Ooh,
this might actually give them an opportunity. Yeah, Nonshing engaging. Yeah, this is go time for both squads. You've got to build off the back of this. Crash in, up towards the compound. Nade close. Zizzy takes the brunt of the damage. Aaron priming another one as well. It's Doc C. He saw him. What's going on? Goes back in for a second look. Finally shuts down Rita.
That was crazy. Silas moving up top there. We'll find Silas. We'll finish him off there as well. I mean, Regnum Kaya just spent all the way over towards Yangon Galacticos, and they were doing damage, but they're out now. What?
You knew about Alpha for so long. The minute an opportunity was presented from the commotion thrown between this fight on your screens, they go for it, but Alpha just absolutely upset. Goodbye, Regnum Karia. It's now not a bad position for them to build from.
Not at all. I think Alpha Gaming's played a bit of a blinder on that one, but blinding powder over to Regnum Kaya, it would seem. Doc C moves up over towards Ida, finding Darkin. More DBS shots through the window, not quite connecting just yet. There's a Molotov sent through. Murnat will finish off top on an explosion on the vehicle. They are just trying to hold on as much as possible here. And once again, it is Yangon Galacticos to make it through. This team is bulletproof.
You got Team Secret as well, playing that classic slow build, playing from distance, looking to third party onto this one. This elongated bout between Nonshin and Ida. Aaron dodged the explosives, but he can't dodge the slugs. That's the peek up from Doc C. The DBS finally able to finish him off, but at what cost? One player left, just him.
Gives me Yangon Galacticos as well, as Team Secret have some very favorable positions going in towards the future. They can effectively sort of ignore one another and rather take shots down towards that south side at teams that will be making their way up this hillside. I think it's going to be tough. Here's Sook with the bow in hand, just sending shots in, making life extremely difficult for Doc C. He is on the low ground though, and Sook may be just sending in ammo for no reason.
I mean, with 20 arrows left, he could zone you for quite some time. Just make it impossible to go for a peek out.
He's got to leave at some point as well, it's the thing.
Oh, they're getting close.
Just consistent bombardment. Oxy struggling. Now moving forward, Sook will see a nade come his way. A little bit upset about the nades coming down though. Might pivot off. Spots Doc C isn't quite as effective with the assault rifle as he is with the bow. The team will support him there, still make it happen. Away about attempting to move up, but it's those two angles. Like I said, it's an efficient, I want to call it teamwork between both teams, but it's an agreement, right? You both have an extremely strong position. Let's get rid of the teams that could cause problems for us later on before we engage in one-on-one combat.
Yeah, you know to prioritize first. Don't poke the hornet's nest until it's time to engage. Frankie with the move up. Wow. Damage back over. Slapping him there. Forcing him into a bit of a rough spot. 3 squads going head-to-head, of course. And Alpha Gaming only have the one man left alive. That's Reefus that's further down.
This will be the second game in a row that Alpha Gaming have been able to get themselves a podium finish with a solo player towards these end circles. He's going to make a break for it. Murnat definitely saw him, was wondering why he went for that play. I don't think he had much choice in that situation. Murnat had actually pushed off that position as well. It's just unlucky. He comes out at that timing. Trang will go down.
Shots back and forth, trades on either side. Intensity building, SayCloud looking for the angle. Murnat from further back, able to assist. They can focus fire on Frankie. He's removed, cauterize it and reset. 2 players alive, focusing on the pickup as well. Grab Romeo.
यो म्यान
just make it as hard as possible. A 3v1. There's absolutely no way that Jaiki should be able to get himself out of this one. With UNKOWN Galacticos starting to move up, and the map is enveloped by space as they suffocate out the rest of the team from the high ground, pick themselves up. Not only against some of the hardest spots in the lobby, like Alter Ego, but Regnum Kaya, who sent their way up there earlier, who did get backstabbed by Alpha Gaming, but. They knew where they were. There were some weird plays this game, but it was terrifying terrain to play around with.
Celebration and elation from the team as well. Slaps of the hands. Everyone congratulating one another. The arena starting to get excited as well with the way these games have been going. They should be celebrating. They played some great games. That's what you bring up, man. Alpha Gaming being able to drag that one out, even that fight onto Regnum Kaya. Crazy scenes here, Blank, but the action keeps on going. In a couple minutes time.
कस्तो हाई ग्राउन्ड एडभान्टेज भयो है म्या वाइजीलाई बिचरा यो सेक्लाउड र स्माइल त राम्रो खेले तर यसको दाँतमा ब्रेसेस लाएर स्माइल हो यसको नि ब्रेसेस रहेछ यसलाई नि एक हान्दा पर्दो रहेछ मार त्यसलाई नि एक हाल्यो भने त ढल्छ होला रणमतीको छोरो कपिराइट लाग्छ कि हेरे यस्तो गीत हाल्यो क्या साथी कपिराइट लाग्ने रणमती अनि लामो स्पोटिफाई सुनेर गेम प्ले बढ्छ ए स्पोटिफाईले स्पोन्सर हानेछ नि त्यो इराङ्गल हो ए फर्स्टको त अल्टरीको लेखाएर रहेछ म त वहाँ मम्मीले स्याइस्या गर्दै थियो त्यहाँ एकछिन बसेँ कि फेरि स्याइस्या गरेर कहाँ गर्दा यहाँ कता होला
खोलियो क्या
यहाँ स्याइस्या गरेर रोजङ घर भागतिर रनमती ओस बट कुन क्यामेरा ए तिमीले भनेको क्यामेरा यो हो कि साथी रोकै म देखाइदिन्छु तिमीलाई मेरो लामो मान्छे उसमा नि सस्तैमा पाउँछ क्या काउडा सेलमा 9 बजी निस्किनु पर्ला हो साढे नौमा आऊ अनि ट्याक्सी चढेर गयो तिमीलाई $30 त हो यो हो क्या मैले भनेको क्यामेरा यो हो कि सोनी GV1 मैले नै अस्ति नेपाल लगेको थिएँ कि डेन्जर सानो हो कि लेन्स फेर्न पर्दैन क्या नयाँ लेन्स किन्न एउटै लेन्स चाहिँ पुग्छ क्या बिल्डिङ लेन्स हो क्या फेरि दामी छ त्यहाँको सेटअप त एकैछिन सकिन्छ सानो हो क्या त्यो सेतो पनि पाउँछ अझै यो ब्याट्री होइन यो कन्ट्रोलर पनि किन्न मिल्छ अझै यहाँ चाहिँ 6000 देखाएको छ तर यो निस्किन्छ कि स्क्रिन यहीँ हुन्छ क्या माइक नि दामी क्लियर हुन्छ क्या माइक म त्यो मुस्ताङको भ्लग नि यो क्यामेराले खिचेको म देखाउँछु भरे तिमीलाई यो माइक हो क्या तिम्रो चिटिक्क गएको यो खोल्टीमा हालेर नि हिँड्न मिल्छ iPhone 16 जत्रो हो दामी छ क्या यो काउर सेलमा सस्तोमा छ क्या म तिमीलाई भरे हेरिदिन्छु तुफान हान्न पर्छ उता गएर लोकमा घडी चार्ज गरेर चाहिँ 19% हुन्छ
Potato Hill itself, but the nade from Cloud in particular were key to claim all of Potato Hill for themselves and take the win at the end.
One of the slowest teams to rotate as well. They took their sweet time. I think at one point it was Circle 3. All the teams were just focusing on that center area, and Yangon Galacticos were the ones towards the north. I really enjoyed how they were able to surprise Alter Ego. Alter Ego was not expecting the team to be able to come up from behind them. And then, I mean, for Yangon Galacticos, I think they were waiting in Potato Hill. You were saying during that break too.
कति 25-30,000 मा आउँछ के वारेन्टी बिनाको नेपालमा पठाउने भने त कामै छैन वारेन्टी अनि हैन वाइजी त दामी खेले यार तर त्यो होरा त तलतिर हो त फर्स्ट गेम के भयो म त हेर्नै पाएन 6% थियो ब्याट्री नि फोन
such as Weibo away from the fight. So actually Team Secret, they showed me a little bit more than what we saw back in the group stage, which sets up a very good precedent here for the finals.
Yeah, for Team Secret, I would have actually loved them to commit to that fight.
Even
though they weren't being able to control in Potato Hill, I don't know if you agree or disagree with me on this.
कस्तो पटेटो रन मा थियो हिलो म्याच रन कियर साथी यार धेरै हल चलेर होला यार आज
Yangon Galacticos a little bit earlier, teams such as maybe
Weibo
Weibo send it and third party that fight and just wrap up the chicken dinner. I do get why they were delaying it, but the more you delay it, the big advantage you're giving to Yangon, and then you just cannot win that fight anymore.
साथी भोलि फ्री हो रे युकेले सोध्या सो हाउसको लागि ए फर्स्ट गेमको 2 पोइन्ट्स भयो यो गेम 0 पोइन्ट छ
They had 4 vehicles being able to just create a big barrier, and on top of that, for this team, they kept getting blessed by the circle. They really didn't have to do much. They were able to just hold off a lot of people, and that's the scariest thing with this team. We know they have the fragging power. We know if they set themselves in a position where they actually have the full squad, they're going to be super scary, and they were able to showcase it perfectly in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to survive a little bit more like that every single match, that one big chicken dinner could set them apart from the rest of the lobby.
It's Yangon wall-to-wall for our match report here. Not too much surprise considering the space that they were able to control. Cloud, as you were mentioning before, Max, looking fantastic in this game.
Yeah, I mean, almost 1.4k damage right there. He is very high in that one angle.
What did it make a noise?
Yeah, do the noise.
Wow! There you go.
I missed that.
I mean, it's been actually over a year since I've been able to make a noise. So
hello, Sati. Cow.
It's going to be a jingle. We got to figure out a jingle.
I'll figure out a jingle. Don't you worry. I don't know who
I thought it was going to be on the spot. Man,
that would have been insane.
Look, we're seeing some replays actually of the car 4 here from Alpha Gaming, and we don't have hovercraft. We've got hovercraft at home. It's just a 4-man, the full car fortress created on the edge of Potato Hill, and it was really good to get them in that podium finish at the end. The Notion Red Force, I think that was a team that Yumi both wanted to talk about here, actually, 7. Their breach onto Ida's Harry Potter Tower, I like the idea going for the breach, but it took so long to wrap up that fight. Big third parties from Weibo in particular did come through at the end.
That's the thing right there. I was talking about this too, the Fire Plugs and Nonstrom Red Force, especially with Nonstrom Red Force. I was talking about how this team just tends to play so slow that they're not...
You get a volley, so I was like, so they
feel like it's showcased perfectly in that scenario right there. And then on top of that...
Bob okay one there, Bob free one there.
Crash on WBG, they seemed like they got ahead too. They ended up getting a knock, but they were just too slow.
Okay one, these are good.
For this teams, they got to be able to adjust on how aggressive the lobby is.
I think Nungshin was happy to gamble on that compound, right? Because if it does go to that compound, the circle, then it's so hard for these teams to push into that. So they were also thinking about where they were going to transition, how they were going to transition. Max, it's just, it gets dicey trying to go up to the Wizard Tower, trying to do something there and keep yourself going in the late stage.
Kola सोध्ने हो तिमी मैले चाहिँ मलाई सोधेको के तिमी फ्री छ कि छैन भनेर
and able to defend it quite
well.
Then they do have to go onto the Harry Potter Tower. Though if we got teams that try and crash on those positions, I kind of want to pivot the conversation over to power.
Sure.
I think we're very indecisive. There are 2
options.
Maybe you find the side option.
In the center between those two just don't survive at all in the later stage. I think at that point, you pick a compound, you breach it, and you just hope for the best.
There is, of course, Al Hajj's dad as power, as you mentioned in. it was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation 7, right? Like, even if they choose another option that isn't that kind of through the middle of those compounds, it's still going to be very difficult to make those crashes happen. But maybe it could have yielded more points.
It is. I feel like they would have just gone for the crash. At least you're not going to have so many teams looking at you. You're not going to be letting yourself open for so many third parties for this team. And the only thing is, like, we're able to kind of say this in hindsight, right? We're seeing everything that's going on. But for them, if they would have been able to make that crash with the firepower that they've been able to showcase in the previous stage, in survival stage, I feel like they might have been able to edge them out.
Look, it's all you go for compound crash, or you're in between Regnum Carrier, Nongshim Redfall, and
대기 주대인 전투리 되어 Afternoon is at the afternoon. Should be around 12? 1? 2? I don't know, man. I don't know. Tomorrow I need to make it clean and good. I want to get boiler room there. खतरा गर्ने रे के यसले त्यही भएर बवाल बनाउने थियो Same client.
Right? Like, he was just saying, okay, I don't know exactly where you are at that wizard tower, so I'm just going to spam into it. And as you said, that really has your full focus, your full attention, and then you just get knocked from the other side. It's problematic for sure.
I don't hate it. That's the thing. I don't hate it. I just wish that he wouldn't be so just over-focused on it. And it was good suppression, but the team wasn't able to get angles on the guy because they just had so much smokes.
Oh, wait, is that for today only?
3,000 damage from Al-Hajj. There's no way.
No.
They have this many eliminations?
I mean, they fought 4 thrives on the first game, right, going into Sanok.
Okay, 서다. Okay, also okay भनिदिन्छु म.
We'll have to.
Anyway.
सेटअप गर्न निस्किन्छ अनि राति आउँछ. एस. तर भोलि ढिलो हुन्छ होला सेटअप किनभने अलि दामी गर्ने भन्दै थियो अहिले. बोइलर रुम भन्दा साथी फेरि क्लाइन्ट होइन हल्का कुकिङ बनाउने क्या डेन्जर बनाउने प्रसन्न भाइ नि चाहिन्छ भनेर सोचेकै प्रसन्न भाइ जान्छ भने मन गइदिउँला नि यसो यो गर त्यो गर भन्दा होइन तर म त केही नि गर्दिनँ हौ हात दुख्यो डेन्जर दुख्यो अहिले त साथी डेन्जर रन्के क्या घर आएर बसेको त धेरै गरियो नि त आज यार ए माया म त रगत छ
Maybe that's why they became so impatient because they're trying to change that, and I'm hoping that they don't end up overdoing it.
All right, well, let's get to it then. Let's see if all of these teams can
시다몰 아니노 시다몰
for our second Erringel of the day.
ए यो दबाई खाएको त चक्कर लाग्यो जस्तो भएको यार पर्खडा खाएको यो दबाई त रन मतिको छोरो
Some interesting PUBG Mobile up to this point. We've seen the
कस्तो
crowd
तात्तिको मेरो
rooting for their hometown heroes, seeing who's going to be able to walk away at the top of the standings today. Intense action, and you'd imagine a lot more of that to continue right here, right now.
A lot of very amazing usage of the map and the terrain in general. Overall, I think it's a great point to pick up on.
सुरु भयो second match.
Even in those tough scenarios, a lot of teams know the best areas to play, how they want to move out. I think the big mistake from that last game was definitely Regnum Karya's push up towards that north side. I think that realistically they had to remove Alpha Gaming. And it was also quite frustrating to me because you know
war focus on
the vehicle and sent that nade through, they would have seen 70, 80 damage numbers coming up on the screen, but over 3 players. And at that point, I think I would have liked for them to go for a bit more of a Hail Mary on it, really, something very aggressive. If they'd removed Alpha Gaming, I think that their late game would have been very, very different.
Yeah, I felt like they were setting themselves up for a ton of success there. It was good timing on the call to actually commit to it as well, but that 5 versus Alpha completely turned the script. The difference, if you even cast your mind further back, the drive-by nade on the scout, all of them left on what, you know, sub 12 HP, really. You could have converted on that. 1 knock probably would have been the go pistol for them, but ifs and or buts won't win you championships.
It's like I'm saying, they saw 370 hit markers. It's like, yeah, you should have probably went on that one. And I think you're right in the sense of maybe they would have done if they'd seen a knock.
Yeah.
There were only 2, but I think that scenario is you just have to take a chance on it. I think for Regnum Karya, that's what is difficult for them, is that it is very obvious to me right now. It's very obvious to me right now that they're trying for a little bit more aggressive play. They were falling back into old habits.
No, they definitely were. They definitely were. Man, Let's see.
Pari
Maybe you
gayo
can reset
zone
from it blank. They'll be able to get themselves into a better position
Yinaro drop
to
height wa.
show us what they're made of and what they're capable
Lai la
of.
YG le ke garcha
For
ki
UNKOWN, they were certainly capable of greatness.
YG le
into
ke
that
garcha
previous
garna
game,
सक्दैन है
casting a shadow over the lobby. Out here up against Thunder Talks early on the drop. Bit of room to work with those. They could avoid the fight if they want to.
We're going to head down towards Sosnovka as well to start things off. So a lot of teams will need to get a move on. Power already heading out over that bridge, crossing it over towards UNKOWN and Thunder Talks, who are currently in close contention at the moment. See how that fight does pan out between those two teams. UNKOWN Galacticos obviously coming off from a big high from that last game. Let's see if that momentum does bleed through. Power Esports going to send even higher to the heights from last game.
Seen some good signs from Power as well. You know, individually, I think the gun skill's certainly there today, playing to their strengths. Not in a bad spot whatsoever. Tied at the minute. This is back over towards our drop fight that we were mentioning, of course. Out with the Tommy, teaching you lessons from distance. Val Romeo.
I get a moment
केपीओले शुभकामना दियो यार यस्तो गेम गएको होला यार पोजिसन पो होला यार त्यो माया बुढो लोद्धरै हो त्यो रनमती
Still impressive with the Tommy as well to hit at that distance. Origo aren't done yet either as they pick up an initial knock over towards
Oy Secloud र इस्माइल मेरो इज्जत राखे
most
माया
difficult rotation contenders, right?
TT को against म
come out from the Pubg. I like they set the player out early in Rosemary. I believe
डर लाग्यो यार चाइना भन्दै चाइना नम्बर 1
a player that you would desperately want in your front line. It's Krypton, in fact, that sent out first.
ओए रनमती एल त कस्तो पिखाएर हानेको हानेको त यार
So it's nice to see him get an initial knock, and that's going to make that
Yo,
rotation
big player
down
and
towards
they hit him on
much
dot like
easier
that.
playing against a three-man squad. That changes their rotation. It changes their
Jackie
plan
भाइको याद आउँछ
on this entire map.
Scary as well
इज्जत
for
राखे
Fireflux as a roster overall.
Oye,
So I
के हो
think that
त्यसको त
squad,
नामै
you know,
देखाएको
sort of
थिएन
talking about this idea of being able to build your confidence, feed the hot hand, keep that momentum going. They've been hitting dead stops again and
Nova
again, where it feels like
Nova हो पहिलाको
from underneath them. They're not able to build themselves.
खोइ त प्यारो भाइ
Too late into these games. And that
ओए हाने त एल त रनमती झार्दियो
on the exit as well. They're literally trying to retreat
त्यस्तो
from this, and you
गर्नु
still
ए
find
खाइदियो
yourself
यार
locked into a full
एक्लैले
takedown.
खाइदियो यार
So
दुईजनालाई यार
wow, that's a bit of a rough start.
Really,
considering
यार
you've
match
just
is
taken
with
your opening chicken dinner.
Yeah, King living up to the name of the weapon used there. Doing a nasty
एक्लैले फेल लहर दियो यार स्क्वाडलाई यार
Galacticos with the scar.
औडा रे ओए फायरफ्लक्स चाहिँ हान्दियो
Shot from it was
रोजमेरीले हान्दियो म्याचिङ फायरफ्लक्स हान
But
रनमती
yes, a nice play from Rosemary.
ये इस्माइललाई नै हान्दियो यार टीएस पो हान्छ त फेरि कहाँबाट आयो टीएस
As UNKOWN Galacticos tried to escape, it's no secret that that kind of rotation is not going to go unpunished.
भाग्दा भाग्दा हान्दियो यार अर्को टिमले यार
Kind of uncomfortable, really.
मिठो झऱ्यो ओके कस्तो झार्दिएको म्याच त्यो आइरन साइडले ल
It's a straight shot over towards him. Murnat likely to go out. And
YG
UNKOWN Galacticos
Why यार ये आमा
Incredible performance last Erangel. Do end up
Bizarre,
going out
यार.
16th here in our second Erangel of
वाइ
the
भन्दियो नि
day.
यार यो मुझे टीएस कहाँबाट आयो 2 किल उठाइदियो यार त्यसो यार
Had a bit of a buffer.
बिचारा
up towards the
YG
top
उता
side of
रन
the
किरिरहेको थियो
tables.
म्या यता
Instead, it's all for naught here.
त्यस्तो अन्याय त ओए
If you're one of these squads as well,
Knocky
that
like
are only
the
a few
head,
points
knocky
behind, your eyes are now going to light up. That's a prime opportunity, right, where you're thinking, okay, tied with Alpha, both having 23 points. You get no elims from that, no placements. We can start to lap you. We can start to climb further up that ladder. And at the halfway point of day one, only 3 days of intense competition here for playoffs, you have to grab the ball by the horns. You can't afford to leave it up to another team to decide your fate for you. So this is what we're going to see some of these squads start to reinvigorate themselves. Potentially even the team that's on your screen now, right? 4 Thrives. A lot of debate, a lot of talk about this squad, how they're going to be looking. Amazing in the group stage. What plays can they make right here, right now?
Yeah, there has to be a big refresh coming through from 4 Thrives because these last 2 games have felt hectic. And even now it feels like you could sense the pressure that is on 4 Thrives. They send away from this position. They might have wanted to challenge for it. They realize players are there. So they look for something a bit more open for them. There's no way. Okay, I thought he hit him on the barrel roll. I mean, that's still impressive to get it out there and still make that shot happen. But if he hit him on the barrel roll, that would have probably been the play of the year so far. Before Thrives, yeah, they're looking for a more open area on the map. They're going to head over towards Airstrip to make that one work. For Alter Ego, though, this is an important game for them, in my opinion. Setting that marker really high early on in the tournament, super important, because with Smash ruling, day 1, day 2 become a bit of a sprint to get towards that top side and at least get as close as possible to first place or be in first place to open up match point on day 3.
It would be the dream scenario for them, and I think potentially even change the flow of the lobby with the paranoia that will set in when Smash comes to play. But right now it's Koa that's on screen. Barrage of bullets goes out on the drive-by. DRX trapped in position here, bit of chip damage onto 2 players, trying to take some shots back, make it uneasy for them to just hold, locked in position on these angles.
I'm surprised QZZ actually got through there.
Yeah.
Because he was snaking it a little bit, but the shot didn't seem too hard to hit, and I think that he was playing so wobbly that it caught even Falcons off balance there. Now they have to send back over towards a more secure location. Can't afford to hold up DRX for much longer. They're going to all jump in the water and rotate across to their
Hello,
buddy.
I'm under the water. Please save me. Yeah, too much raining.
On the beachhead. Only a couple of teams still yet to make their way in. It's Ida as well as Regnum Kaya. The upstarts from Turkey versus the Titans. Going head to head here in Rozhok, both teams will need to leave soon as there's a lot of squads already confirming over towards Sosnovka.
Horaa त म्याच फायर प्लक्सटिक पुरेर बसेको क्या रन मात्रै त्यही
wrap round the back, and like you say, Regnum and Ida.
यता परे अरे एपीजी ला पर्छ रे
fight, maybe only one of them limps away.
फायर प्लक्स त पर्यो नि त ला म्याच त्यो हेर्न म्याच
body of water
बसिरहेको त्यहाँ गएर पहिले ल फोर्थ रात चाहिँ मिठो जोन यार
Horaa can move across. Should be able to move across pretty comfortably as well. I don't think this is too treacherous of a path for them. No style type of traps on that bridge right now. Towards the west. This is a real easy rotate for them. Regnum Kai Ida though, yet less of a they could head over towards the coastal side on Erangel main island, swim across or just send the vehicles in and try and play on that beachhead, which is definitely a possibility, especially as we start to move further north on this circle. Teams could try for that one. It's just a surprisingly easy.
Wait, नकिले हान्यो है टीएसले दुईटा लान्यो पावरले अर्डर लान्दियो ला म्याच नि
Verheiden from a distance.
ला नकिले त फ्र्याङ्कलाई त नक किन हान्यो त
On their rotate over.
Meanwhile, we've seen in the Elim feed,
4 Thrives took the fight straight to Team Secret, forced them out of position, but made it really
the last one
down to just the solo
Lucky
player.
duo match के फलक त ओइ
Confirming as well, 1 by 1. So stealing away a couple of elimination points, which for them could be a good start to get them dialed into the actual action.
TS त उताबाट नि सकियो
steal onto Team Secret coming out from front.
कस्तो डरबाट हारेर सकेको दुईटा
They really couldn't figure out anywhere to go there. Constantly bumping into teams left, right, and center, and it turns out their over-aggressive push down on Galacticos is the thing to force that final nail in their coffin. Power still hitting some nasty shots over towards Weibo, playing on that coastal side. I mean, that drops Weibo now down to just the 2 players. Don't think they're getting Suk back up again. Al-Haji is going to wait for the switch to resurface.
He knows he's got to come up for air at some point. He can sit pretty and wait to finish that man off. So Power looking to just take away points where possible. Just commit to it. Left in the blue, gone for good, down in the deep.
Regnum Kai is
Five blocks
school now, actually.
Crazy
on the indecision where they're happy to send straight out around.
राम्रो कुरा
get Sosnovka finished.
म त आउँछु पछाडिबाट छुरा
On the northern side of the map for a long time.
सीपी तिमीले गर्न सक्छौ हेर यिनीहरूलाई न हेर रन माथि हेर म चाहिँ डाक गरेर सोमालियन पाइरेट्सहरु जस्तो म्याच
Especially even over towards this north side of the map.
क्रन्ची रोलमा नि स्ट्रिम हुँदै रहेछ है फाइनल्स
The small compounds that are available on that side.
Horaa the last ma
Pretty much going to
cha
be playing
keda
on the
ho
tree
1
line,
point
potentially over towards the
Falcon
left
la jun
side
parcha
of
match
using,
run mati
that ridge as cover as we do
Khatra
convert
kya
even further
Elgato
over
milaunch
towards
ke
the
bela
north here. I think we're on zone 3 now, so circle and the blue will start to tickle quite a bit before we head towards stage 4.
Gaming
where
da
it's,
yeta aisakeko रहेछ नि त
not to
तिम्रो
still
सुक
be
चाहिँ
in
के
that
गर्दै
blue for
बसेको
too
त
long.
उता म्याटको पावरसँग जिस्किँदै
You do wonder if that'll be a bit of paralysis by analysis there for Regnum Karya, taking
Get out,
a
don't you,
very slow approach this one. A
Horaa
snail's
zone
pace
छिरिसक्यो
that could come
guys
back to bite them in the bottom.
Five
We'll
blocks
see.
सँगै
They're
पर्न
starting to
लाग्यो
get a bit of a
तिमीहरूको
move on now though, and so are the remaining squads on the periphery of the zone here. Slowly advancing further forward. You were fragmented down towards the south side. It was a bit uncomfortable. A bit of a push up now. Alpha Gaming coming over, 4-5's in position there as well. Nongshing Red Force feels like they've been really willing to take a good majority of their fights. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sparks starting to fly, especially with this rotate coming in from Ida.
Oh, Nongshing Red Force has
Ida
during these games. An aggressive team, a hunger for team fights.
Aggressive भन्छ त
And you're right in the sense that they're a scary team to come up against because you just never know when they're going to pull that trigger. It might just be you that faces the ire of Nongshim Red Force in the end. Falcons find themselves a nice central position on this circle though. We'll see what they can get done with it. Usually Falcons can find themselves over towards the late game with 4 players. Tend to do quite well. Get through a period of getting to around about zone 7, which is very shaky on the side of Falcons. There's some big nerves before they lock in.
हल्का बाजुमा मार बाजुमा यतै हेरी माकी
Ragnar here priming the nade. Alley-oop over the top.
ओए कस्तो मिठो बल गयो यार छोड दियो किल छोड दियो
Nitro for breakfast blows them away.
That is crazy.
Horaa
Crazy
नेड
of a
हान्दै
nade.
साथी तिमीले अस्ति नेड हान्यो यार त्यसले यार
That one as well.
Over.
Me.
तिम्रो अस्ति नेड हान्यो यार
You love to see
यो
it.
गेम चान्स सक्यो जोन त
Power fans
छिरेको
have
रे
their
केटाहरुले
eyes light
मुभमेन्ट
up
केही
at that
गरेन
one. Already 4 eliminations for the
यो
squad,
मुजी
topping the
टिटीसँग
charts at
पर्छ
the minute
जस्तो
in the
लाग्यो आईटी
lobby.
सँग हो कि आईटी हो
In
कि
a good position to keep
यहाँ पर्छ
building,
जस्तो लाग्यो
especially with UNKOWN going out early as well. There's room for power to ebb and flow their way through the standings. Horaa turning their attention back round. That's Moana from Alter that takes a knock.
Alter Ego was always going to struggle. They had to play all the way to the eastern side. A lot of other areas were taken. They dropped the smoke over towards Moana. Rosemary's worried whether this is even worth going for the res on this.
रोजमेनले एउटा किल हानेको त्यति त रहेछ अलरेडीको
Allow Rosemary time to
कहाँ गयो
fall
जोन
back
बाहिर
through that smoke, but I think it does feel like a little bit of an abandoned ship here.
जोन बाहिर
for
रोटेसन
him.
ला हाने सिपीले म्याच चिस मोआनालाई हाने मोआना
Draw him low,
उम्बाका
put
उम्बाका
him back to sleep.
टेरी त कहाँ गएर मर्यो रन जोनले नगएको
Sure what E-Arena's
डेन्जर
game
काटेको
plan
जोनले
is, but they have taken a
नके आयो
nasty
जोकर म्याच चिक्ला ठोक
punishment
ठोक रन मतिका बाललाई
on that south side.
ए लास्ट वान रहेछ नि
Going
ए
down
त
towards the
सकेछ
blue
त
there.
बिचारा
Get a replay on this one because this was disgusting.
लभली
They
नेड
played at the right time.
गाडीमा चढ्ने
Start to
बित्तिकै
turn
हान्दै
it. And pretty much as they
राग्नर
turn,
पछि राग्नर
the
रकै भन्छ
nade
क्या
fumbles through the window.
बिचारा साकुराहरु त सब डेड
Very
भन्छ
Maxim-esque on the nade. Max
ओए फलकले हान्यो मोजी एपिजेलाई चियोलले पो हान्दियो यार
to the action here as well.
ओए मोजी नक फिनिश हान्दियो यार ओए रिफ्रेन हान्दियो त ओए
Serious damage.
ओए के हो रिफ्रेन नक फिनिश व्हाट द फक
Attempt to build
ओभर
here.
हाइम है
Get themselves into a
40
position where they feel handy with their steel. This was always going to be an issue for Alter Ego as well on the rotate. You had power ahead of you. They go for the wide berth round.
lovely cover हान्ने यार
It's the third party as well with Fireflies.
Third party पो रहेछ रन मतिको छोरो
So easy suffering there.
ए कति छिटो गरेको म्याच बुझिन हौ ओए काम नहुने हेलो एक्सक्युज मी
gives his life for the rest of the team to get further into the circle. Fireflux will take the reins off the back of that fight versus Power. Now
Bagyo
down to 3
Fireflux
players,
run,
but
man.
5 elims, not a bad start for them this game.
अन्त त्यो नेट त
Getting
डेन्जर
towards
हानेको
15 minutes into this one.
Lo,
Solus attempts to
Moji.
hit the shots, but he's
एक
on
शॉट में
target.
रिफ्लेक्स हान्दियो त यार
Bullets just whizzing by.
ल म्याच के पावर ओभर हाइम
The problem is that opens an opportunity.
Power over power.
Play from Power so instantly on
त्यसलाई
target.
चढाउने ओए मादर
Back over. couldn't stop what could have been a hell
Horaa
of
रहेछ
a
यो फाइदा
scorer
नि त
there
म
from
बाक्दिन
Fireflux. Instead, in reality, it's just catch. At least he's got some heavy armor to work with diving inside the hovercraft, but he's got to piece out. Got to give up
APG
the
को
goose.
टपले हाने उसलाई
Absolutely love. That could have been a great
Evil,
third party.
more
It could
air
have been
solid.
an amazing third party. You're right.
ए
in
मुझे
terms
5
of the
किलो राखिसक्यो यिनीहरूले
roving
त
wall in the hovercraft being the
एक
biggest
किलो हान्यो
boon here
टप
for him. That's the one the
पड्काइदियो
back,
म्यान
let it
नकिले
explode. This is not the most ideal location for him to end up. There's these shots coming through from earlier.
ए त्यस्तरी हानेर रहेछ नि त फलकले
Fantastic maneuvers.
वे लभली हानेको यार म्याच सिक्ने
Never overrating
Lovely
the pudding
हान्दै
as
रहेछ नि
well when it
1v2
comes to those peaks. Really, really nice to watch when he's on form.
टप के गरे यार त त इज्जत होस् यार हाम्रो यार
Playing the angle perfectly, like you say.
कहाँ हानेको म्याच फलकले फेरि पड्काइदियो फायरब्लक्सलाई
Cover, taking some clean
यो फलक त क्यू एमभीपी हो क्या यार
Might be
साँच्चैको
anything but clean. Close quarters
Oi,
engagement. The
oi,
shot from the side.
Silas!
But the backstab from
Lovely,
Silas
lovely,
at
man.
least stops it before it got out of hand.
लक्सीले हानेको
He was able to find even more damage there. Suddenly you're thinking, ooh, this is again another game where
Oi,
Regnicar
dog
feel
the
like they should be able to build.
bichara.
But again, actually, it's interesting
Hey,
to see how
get out.
Regnicar are going to play
World
this
Cup
one out.
best
It's a
MVP
far
era
slower
ta
game from
look at
them.
us.
They're in the forefront of it now. That chase has not stopped at all as well. Power going from target
Ching
to
ai,
target.
ching, ching.
Everyone running them down.
I think okay, man.
Thunder talks
Ching,
again
man.
now, pushing up. They've got angles, but smoke's down to provide some cover for the quick heals.
Good elim count though so far, 7, highest in the lobby. Fourth Thrive's just 1 elim behind that. Sing's going to move forward
Okay.
up towards Al-Haji, confirmed
एक किल
towards
पछाडि आयो
him.
क्या मलाई
Gets caught underneath the wheel,
छिनले किल उठाइदियो पावरको
wrapped up in burnt rubber.
फर्स्ट
So
भेकल
they're sent back
एलिमिनेसन
over towards the rest of the team. Another shift on the circle here. Kai do need to move out.
क्वालिटी किन हो
Right, they were laying the brick
बिचमा पर्छ हेर
on the
जोन
south
डेट सेन्टर
side
ऊ
for a
म्याच
match
म
here.
ह्याकर हो
The
के
East
साथी
Red Force, Alter Ego, Weibo, all controlling this
कोला
high
पर्यो
ground.
जोन
Is a very
होरा
fun
केटा त
circle to
बाहिर
end
आयो
up
त यार
on.
जोन बाहिर डीएक्स सँग
A lot of
पर्न
cheeky
लाग्यो
maneuvers that are available here.
हाम्रो होरालाई त देखाएको छैन के एउटा किल त हाने रहेछ ए अघि उसलाई हाने थियो यार कोला
Way down with the nades.
फायरफ्लक्सलाई हाने थियो आज स्लिपी बाय
Just slightly off target. The problem is you've got a few establishing shots that have been fired in from the back as
Dog
well.
Lechaio.
Falcons taking a bit of a scout onto it, trying to spread themselves thinner to keep the pressure on.
Eh.
Ragnar with the spot in the vehicle, quick
APG
scout,
लाई त
makes
लहर
the
दियो
move
त
back
साथी
to
अनि
it.
मिल्टीमा
Playing
छिरेर
duo
सबले
still and work off one another. Actually gets the drive-by. The bonnet
ल टिटीलाई त म चाहिँ खिचेर मारिदियो
using so much from this.
Goodness me, I mean, Power doing that.
Ui,
on
Ragnar
their
त
own as
ओभर
well
हाइमा
versus
त
Thunder Talks is very,
त्यो
very
फ्याल्कन त
impressive.
घुमेको मात्रै देख्छ
They
त
had that
केही
number
गरेन
for such a
तिनीहरूले
long time, but we switched mobiles there and
वाइ
left in the dust. Ragnar Kaya look to send up. They're heading over towards Ida once again.
के हो
It
मैले
feels
तीनजना
like
गाडी
these two
जोडेर
Turkish
हिँड्ने मैले
teams
ट्रेनमा क्या
consistently take tumbles against one another.
खोइ तिनीहरू लडेकै छैन यार होराहरू डिरेक्सन
Sent
चारजना
far over towards
कोही हो हुन्छ
Alter
जस्तो छ
Ego. Alva as well.
आज
as
क्वालिटी अलि
Krypton.
जोतको आयो यार फोनमा किन हो
Just
Oi, Silas ओभर हाइमा
Krypton is enough to shut him
दुई
down.
किल हान्दियो यार साइरस
Connection from Silas onto
ओइ हाने सिपीले म्याच ल फ्याल्कनलाई हान्यो रन मतिको छोरो Not finished match, this Falcon. Run, Mati.
Shut down a big squad there as well.
उता देखाने त लडेकै छैन ल यहाँ म
Fairly decent position. We know how much Ragnar Kaya do like their ditches. So
आम्ने
they
मुझे
do avoid the Turkish tussle.
बिस्मिल्लाह रे
over
रहिरहेको
towards the
देखाउँछ
western
यार
side and instead confirm on a very, very central position. Ragnar Kaya
Horaa
down in
देखाएन।
12th place right now. 4 points total.
Falcon
with
को
just the
झार्दै
3
होला
elims on the
ए
game.
ओपन
They
रहेछ नि
desperately
केटा
need a big one here if they want to stay
जिगल
in the
खोइ।
conversation over towards the top side of the lobby.
जिगल खोइ यिनीहरूले खाएर रहेछ नि त यता भाएर रहेछ नि खाएर ला ओए फलक के हो ओए मुझे 5 किल हान्दियो त यसले त रन मतिको बान यो त ओभर हाइमा खाँदा आज त
5 elims.
Rampage
back as
and
well.
there, man.
He is going off this game. It makes sense as well. I mean, he's always been such a strong player on the
ओइ
squad.
ओइ ओइ ओइ
Ragnar steps
ल
in, back one
यति
point.
ल्या त्यसले हान्थ्यो यार मुझे फलकले
Hits the
ल
work
म्याच
win.
मारिदियो पड्क्यो
Yeah,
पड्क्यो
he's probably going down.
ओभरकुक भयो क्या
Such an easy
ल ओइ होरा स्पोर्ट्स नि ढल्यो को ढल्यो
Still 7 in the back
एकजना को
pocket
ढल्यो यार
to play late at the crowd
कोले कोला ढाल्यो यार
that one.
पावरलाई त सकाइदियो मुझे फलक
Go
हाल्दैन
down. Vahidan
होरा स्पोर्ट्स कोले ढल्यो
Cover in arms.
Hello.
Finished off. Balak.
Falcon ले हान्दैछ म्याच
What he's
को
made
ढलेछ
of.
जिगल
Falcon still
जिगल
attempting
ढलेर
to
रहेछ
find opportunities to scramble some points away on this one.
यिनीहरूले
Top four are all
जोनमा
out.
त
So
छ
this is a
केटाहरू।
great opportunity for the teams
अन्त
that need
म्याच
to
किनी
eat
फेल्कन
right
लान्छ
now with
फलक हान्द
Weibo,
हान्दियो म्याच ओइ के हो यो फलक त
Elim's this match, which is
फरक त
phenomenal, by the way.
फरक
Six
हाने
of
त
them
हेल्दा
on
हेल्दा
Falak so far, and he looks to push that number
ओइ
up
म्याच
slightly.
यो त
Just
उपर
a
आइमा
little bit
त
to the left.
यो त वाउ हेले जस्तो गरिदिएको त
Look to explode the vehicle instead.
ल नकी
Moves forward,
पड्कियो
will
म्याच
knock a
पड्कियो
grenade of his own,
पड्काइदियो
sends it through, might just
ए
be
मुजी
far enough,
दन्दै
but they
पड्काइदियो क्या
tail and run and sprint they'll have to.
पड्कियो
You are so low.
पड्कियो ए
Tree. Redox
पड्कियो
drop belly on the
ल
ground.
मोजी
It's
फोर
not
ट्राइफ
enough
त
for the
के हो
follow-up T24 with that one. And Narvalo is so far
होराले
away.
को लाने भर्खरै
For the rest of the squad.
Ai,
He's
के
targeting
देखेँ मैले
cover,
भर्खरै
but it's just him now.
को नक छ
This
कोही
feels
नक
like
छैन रे
classic for Thrives as well. The nade play
ल
has
अब
been
40 ले
wonderful
छेक्ने
to
भयो क्या
watch.
केटाहरूलाई
4 players sweeping in from
मुझ
that
10
eastern
किल हान्दियो
side.
रनमतिको
Fight
बाद
to
म्याच
fight, they've
सिक्ने
looked
40 ले त
strong. Not
रनमति
really been much
domination हान्दियो
response their way either. Very much
ल
a
DRX सँग नि
one-sided
पर्यो
argument
स्लिपी
for Thrives so far.
अह
He's been sent over now to DRX
November bye.
from Horaa, attempting to
Let's
put
go,
the
Horaa!
in on the
Matt.
northeast side. Regnum Kaya much more concerned
त्यो
right
मुजी
now
त्यो घोडाको
with the beast
क्यामलको
lying
मासु
on
हारा
the
होला
east
साथी
side
पाकिस्तानबाट
of
मुजी
Thrives.
उठको मासु हारा होला त्यो उठको माथिको हम्के
That's what we wanted to see.
बसे हुन्छ नि त्यो
Four
हारा
fives,
जस्तो छ
not just surviving,
केटाले 2 किल त
but
उठायो
like
क्या
you
एउटा
said, time and
फ्याल्कनको
time
एउटा
again, absolutely
फायरफ्लक्स
thriving.
ल DRX भर्सेस हो र
Living up to their old
ओबी4
tricks, showing us the
ओबी
powerhouse
म्याच
that they
कोले
can
हान्यो
really
रन्टिकमा
be.
सिपी
Or
नो
here,
नो
traffic
सिपी
commotion
नो नो
versus DRX as well.
Silas
Both
हान्यो
here.
उता
He bails out.
विवोलाई
Quick move. Silas still finding impact in the Elim feed as another
Silas
squad
ले नि
feels
उता
the wrath
domination
of
हान्दियो
Ragnacaria.
ऱ्याङ्कन कार्य त
33
ओए
seconds
जिगललाई
down.
हान्दियो क्या एनएसले
Powering a
रन्टिकन
full-on
डोकीले
brawl,
डक्सीले हान्दियो
likely to
रन्टिकमा
spark soon between 4 Thrives
अह,
as
कहाँ
well as
गयो
Regnum
यो?
Kaya. It's Horaa coming in from that northern edge. T24 immediately
जिगल त
backs
कहाँ
that
पुगेछ हौ?
information back, and Noki will stand at the forefront as the vanguard versus Horaa.
उठेछ
IQ playing far back down
उठ्न
towards the
लाग्छ
southeast, trying to gather
Uthena?
some information over towards Regnum Kaya.
उठ्यो होइन उठेन
And
र
all the while, Nongshan Red
नजिकै
Force
थियो
has
त,
been
उठ्यो।
living it large inside their mansion almost.
ए नकियाहरू पागल हो फेरि कसले
Yeah,
कसलाई
the
हान्यो
movie sitting pretty. No one's contested them.
ल 40 भर्सेस
Really haven't
ए
had to do
फ्याल्कनको
too
एउटा
much
पछाडि हेर साई त्यसलाई धेरै हेर त्यसलाई हेर
Towards some sweet, sweet high
ओए फलकलाई हान्दियो नफेरले म्याच सिक्ने हान मुझे मेरो भाइ
Finally comes unstuck. He's
मुझे
been ripping
फुच्चेला हान
tear
फुच्चेला
its way
म्याच
through
सिक्ने
everyone in
फुच्चेको
this lobby.
कन्डो उठा
So now you've got to play medic.
ला स्काललाई मुझे हान्दियो सिपी मेरो भाइ व्हाट यु डुइङ सिपी मेरो भाइ
Closing the gap with the scout.
सिपी मेरो भाइ लभली म्याच सिक्ने सिपी यस ओहो कस्तो राम्रो नक निकाल्यो म्याच सिक्ने हान आर एकदम कार्यालय नि रन्डीको बाद म्याच सबलाई ढोक फ्याल्कनलाई यसलाई हान ओए DRX नाइस DRX ओराको स्काई सकियो म्याच सिक्ने स्काईलाई हान्दियो रन्डीको बाद सिपी लभले सिपी नो फियर ए किल जोड यार फलकको लभली सिपी लभली 4 किल हान्दियो यार भर्खर यार के हुँदैन मलाई केही बुझाइन यार मुजी ल रन्डीको छ सबलाई हान्न भएको थियो
Horaa is the energy.
लभली किल हान्ने थियो सिपीले लभली नक निकाल्दै थियो
Contain yourself.
ओए उता जान
Reset
त
from the
मुजी
angles that are
ए
in
उता जान
play.
वाइल्ड त रन
Sleepy
मति
and no fear.
ए उता हेर्न उता हेर्न मुजी DRX हेर्न रन्डीको बाद
Back over onto Ida as
को नि
well.
मोरे यार
The
को
story
मोरे यार
continues. DRX decimating
एउटा को
onto
मोरे यार
Ida.
होराको
The non-shin red force finally. They
No
get
fear,
thrown a
sleepy
bit of a
छ
deathly blow.
जिगल मोरे
There'll be a
स्काई मोरे
connection
स्काई
back
मोरे
over from Ragnacaria.
Sky र जिगल मोरे दामी पुसान्दै थियो यार दुई तीनजना स्क्वाड चाहिँ एउटै ठाउँमा कसरी हान्दै अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड
Directly on top of them and
सिक्ने
really
फोर
sticking
थाहा
for a
त
lot of
सक्काइदियो
the teams
होराले
that like
नु
the
यार
second now. Nongshan Red Force, as aggressive
chicken
team
and
as they
that's
are, will
Chicken
just
त
have
हैन
to
just top
bide their
3
time.
top
They're
5
going
त
to
थियो
have to sit still and just make sure that blood
अ
doesn't
त हल्का
pump too
प्लेसमेन्ट
hard
भएन
and they
आउँछ
get
4
the
किल त
signal
सिपीले
to
मात्र
send out
हान्दै
the
है
building with the rage that is
Matches.
building.
ओ कहाँ हो नेपाली बोलेको
Hands in
सुन्छु
your
त
pants at a time like this.
चारवटा हुन्छ त
Could be the
रनमा
worst outcome for them.
DRX चाहिँ पछाडि गाड हान्छ माथि एउटा रेगनम गाडियाले धोपी हान्छ जस्तो लाग्यो होइन डेन्जर पेल्छ होला कि बिचमा जोनमा पनि छैन है केटाहरू जोनमा छैन त्यो उसलाई मात्रै हो जोन एनएसलाई मात्रै हो जोन
Ushered further forward,
Sleepy?
slowly advancing, looking to
ओए
play
म्याच
off one
झार्छ क्या
another.
रन्डीको छोरो
Sleepy in the vehicle makes a move. Ida still getting
जोनमा
hit by
छैन
the
क्या
play
केटाहरू
zone as well.
यी जोनमै छैन कि हल्का
Really could not move at all here. Regnum Kai is trying to slow things down. I thinking they're looking
Yeah,
for
RG
that
जाऊ
second
गर्दै
place
खाके
here. They know they need to get the
NS
placement as
सबै
well
त्यही।
as the elims. It's tough for them.
केटा
It's
एकछिन
difficult. Aaron,
यो जोन
start play
आइसक्यो
coming through from Ida. Wanders
म
through
त 1
onto
मिनेट
that
छ
western side. Will make a quick sweep before making the pit stop on
DRX लाई हान्दै
the
गर्ने हुन्छ यार
northwest side of Nongshim Red Force.
पागल भयो
Just
के
short
नेक्स्ट
there
लेभलै भयो साथी
of
पागल हैन
Horaa. Ragnar Kari is
पर्त तिमीहरु दुईटाको पर्त बरु DRX सँग लड्छ हाम्रो केटाहरु यार
Nongshim Red Force, trying to see if they can
भागमा
find a
भाग्न
single
म्याचेसहरु
knock before wanting to take that task to them.
ओइ जोन त छिर्यो ओइ जोन छिर्यो आयो
Can just keep
नो
his
फियर
nose clean as well. He's got
ओ
some
लभली
work
एंगल
with
ओइ
the
म्याच
air
किनेर
drops
हान्यो
that are
मुझे
close by.
फेरि
Just
यता
puts
आएर
himself
आरिजित
in
ओहो
position.
स्लिपी
Straight down the
आया
middle. Here's the
स्लिपी
push up though from Regnum Karia. Instant
नो फियर
engagement
प्लेसमेन्ट
from
निकाल्नै पर्ने
Roxy,
हुन्छ तले
locks
टक्सीमा
on and sleeping
ला
down.
म्याच सिक्ने आरिजीले
Now,
देख्यो
no fit
आ म्याच सिक्ने हाल्लै
there.
आरिजीले हान
Standing tall
कभर दे
as well.
ठिकै
So
छ
much damage done from the engagement.
It's going to be a
डेन्जर
lot
ड्यामेज देखायो तर बिचरा
descending here. I don't think it's going to
फेरि
be
हानेको
far
मुझे
enough.
ओइ साइलस उता जान त त मेरो साथी हैन मुझे मोटे मोटे हामी ना हान्न बिचरा मेरो स्लिपी भाइ हो क्या यार भाइ हो क्या छोड्दैन मुझे किन हानेको रन्डीको यहाँ मुझे एउटा छ उता आइडाला हान्न रन्डीको बान म्याच सिक्ने ना हान्न ए के साह्रो ए 1 HP ए बिचरा यार यो राडीकै छोरा रहेछ म्याच सिक्ने मुझे त्यो रन्डीकोमा आइडाला मारे हुन्थ्यो त म्याच
of how they're going to assault this building.
हो त हुन्थ्यो यार जिजी यार जिजी हो रहा है
Aaron as well, throwing out
Zone.
nades on the push up from
Horaa
Hughes.
भएको जोन
That's what I was
नि
saying. He tucked himself into an
यसलाई
ambush to
नहानिकन
actually
यो
make it
रन्डीको
kind of
छोरालाई
uncomfortable.
यो डिआरएक्स मुझे
Red Force
कस्तो मुझे
baited
लाटो
into
हेलेको
this one
लामो
potentially,
जस्तो
though.
मुझे
Looking
पुस
for a
हान्न
look over the top of
राडेको
the
छोरा
ridge. Aaron trying to
Top
keep
फोमा
himself
आउँथ्यो यार
down.
म्याच
Nades coming in. Firsts on target.
हगिन हान्न भएको थिएन मुझेहरू
Dismantles
बक्सी मेरो
Ida.
लाडा खायो मुझे
They're out of
बक्सी
the running
राडेको
now.
बाद
There is a
बल
slight.
होइन यिनीहरू यो र डिएक्स हेर न मुझे कस्तो होल्डर बसेर चिक्ने लडेको नि छैन
going to try and play this one out for zone 9.
रन्डीको छोरा
Honestly,
गेडा हाती मात्र मुझे
is not central. I don't think it is, and it will force Nongshim Red Force
हगिने
out.
एग्रेसिभ नहेलिकन यो मुला
Will manage to get
उस र
towards the
NS र
backside
DRX
here.
त्यहाँ
Nongshim
जेप
Red
पाए
Force
त्यहाँ
were
हेरेर
able to
बस्ने
control
यार
it, and Nongshim Red Force, they see red. They move out of the building, and Regnum Kari
मारेरै
has took
छाडे नि
position.
आरिजीले यार
DRX are dealing
Horaa
damage and handling themselves up
मारेर
close and
गेट किप
personal
हानेरै छाड्यो
situation.
कि
It's going wrong. Binny now with a
Lulu, तेरे
thin
नेट
veil
एकदम
of
Lulu,
smoke to
हेर।
protect himself, but look at all of the nades.
के खान्छ
Everyone priming these
के
from the top
खान्छ
of the roof.
के
Pushing
खान्छ
them
मिस
down. They had such a power play
sorry.
position for so damn long, but the minute they advanced,
किन यिनीहरूले
DRX makes it
पुसान्ने है होरा
uncomfortable.
छिर्न
And
पाउँथे
Binny,
कि
you're living on borrowed time. Regnum Karia, if they find this
के
one,
थाहा
they're
आरिजीलाई
setting
हान्थ्यो कि
themselves up for a
अनाथ
huge chicken dinner.
10
आरिजीलाई
points on the
हानेर
game,
यता
but
हान्न
plenty more
आउँथ्यो कि
eliminations to be found here for Regnum Kari.
यिनीहरूलाई
Like we
पर्छ
said
झन्
before,
यही मुर्दाहरूलाई
they've been
पर्छ
holding
झन्
on to these
त्यही उसलाई
resources.
पर्छ
They knew
त
the
उता
angle
त्यो
they
चार
need to
चार
take.
देखाएकोलाई पर्छ
Silas goes
झन्
down, but not before
Sure,
Nate
त्यसलाई
sent
पर्छ
through. Sissy goes out, and it
यिनीहरूलाई
will
पर्छ
be
कि
Regnum
आरिजीलाई पर्छ कि
Kari
झन्
looking for the big finish here versus DRX Jackie.
खाइदियो
They just need that final knock. Convert this one, close it down. The slow build up.
Final circle,
and
सकियो
that's enough. All it takes. The push up from the zone being the
Well,
fifth
भन्दै
man
थिए।
in the lobby for Regnum Karia as they're able to convert that one.
बोयो
Great
बोयो
game, good
बोको छ
decision
हो
making. The
बोयो
front
बोयो
runners are on point,
तेरा बहु
and they
म्याच
walk away
हकी
with
नै
a
मुझे
chicken
एग्रेसिभ
dinner.
भन्ने मलाई बात थिएन हो र
Big
रनमा
game for
थियो
them, a much
पन्ध्र
needed
थियो
match. The top 4 went out early as well, as we talked about, so this will bump Regnum Kari back up towards that top side of the
डेन्जर
table.
हेले
But for
यिनीहरू
Nongshim Red Force,
होला गएर
like
डेन्जर
we
हेलेका तर
said, that force from them
Second
builds
winner.
quite a bit. The rage needs to be
आरिजी
contained.
त हरिबे भयो नि
Can't
यिनीहरू
always be looking for these massively aggressive plays. They could have sit still for a little bit longer, but that leg was jiggling,
साइलेन्सहरू त
and they
बाबाले
wanted
भयो
to
नि
get it
यिनीहरू त
moving.
टर्किएर
Yeah, baited out.
वर्ल्डको हाइएस्ट बडी काउन्ट
Aaron
भएकोहरू
Aaron
मान्छे
just
त्यस्तै
behind
मार्छ
the box causes problems against the
Argan
RX.
त्यस्तै हो।
They swoop in thinking we could just clean up on
टर्किसहरू
this one, take it all home.
बोया
But it was
बोया
not a
दुबिसयो
spill drink.
भन्दै
They
उसका
did not clean it easy.
ज्यानहरू
And it
तिमीहरूले गर्दा
presented
मरेका हामी
opportunities for this team on your screens to run
बल्लाइस
away with it.
Regnum Kari make it messy towards the end zone. But we're going to clean up right now. and we'll take
यिनीहरू
a
अगाडि
break.
लड्ने भए
Come back
चान्स
with
थियो क्या
the
होरालाई यस्तो प्यासिभ बस्दैन यार यो म्याच यो डिआरएक्स हो क्या म्याच सबभन्दा म्याच गुहरू पहिलाको वर्ल्ड च्याम्पियन पिडब्ल्यू पिएमसीको च्याम्पियन मेरो गुहरू बदला लिए यार तर उसले साइलसले बदला लिए यिनीहरूलाई 1 पोइन्टले जितेको भाग यस्तो बर्डहरूसँग हारेको हामीले पहिला त्यही भन्दै बदला लियो नि त त्यसले कहिले गरे PUBG वर्ल्ड कपको बदला लियो नि त त्यसले PMGको तर अर्कै लाइनबाट खेल्थ्यो क्या साइलस डक्टर धरी पार्टनर ओ हिल्टन होटल रे सामने यहाँ आएछ केटाहरूलाई हरिप होटल हो त्यो अब सानोको ए होइन के हो अब त के हो मिरामार हो कि इराङ्गल ए इराङ्गल हो क्या अब तीनटा इराङ्गल होइन इराङ्गल दुईटा मिरामार साथी 9 त बज्न लाग्यो त म चाहिँ हामी त निस्किन पर्छ 8:30 बजे जानु 9:30 बजे निस्किन Move off the gun. Move off the gun. We don't need you, man. Go back. I had it. I'll deal with it in there. Last game to end about them. You game what end about all.
Pulsar Legionnaire
And you game it
first outfit with special head animations.
Das what the banana nila pugni.
Pulsar Legionnaire set
Das was
comes
attack
with
kan
its
niskila na
own
to.
super cute voice
You game to herne biare dani
line,
jati
on
angle.
or off.
Duita mira marte utai basere heram la orex.
Hi, friend. Hello, Earth. I'm here.
It also features the upgradable Hyperion ship DSR.
All cute. Run to go. एकचोटि रिलोड रन आज फोनको क्वालिटी नि त्यस्तो राम्रो आएन कि मेरो डार्लिङ अनलाइन आएछ यो मलाई बोलाएको थियो होला यार चेक गर्न अरे मेरोमा चाहिँ भरे रिसाउँछ नबोला रहेछ हामीलाई त कसैले नि बोलाउनु यत्रो बेर बस्दा अनलाइन 7 दिनको त हामी जान्न हो म त जान्न
In the early game, they were still in Roshawk in phase 2, still in the blue,
Ball
still
around the
out
ball
there
team,
in phase 3 even. But I actually really like their wide wrap around, and they
Dan
really set
quality
them up for
ball.
the rest of the game.
I mean, you got to give credit to
7
Random
दिनको
Car,
त
even though they did
नर्थ
end up
पर्दैन नि
I
जस्तो लाग्यो
really
साथी
enjoyed the crashes that they were able to do. This team was just really confident. They were able to crash on 2 players from APG. After that, they made sure that they
ओइ 7 मा
made
पुग्दै छ 6
4
मा
actually
पुग्दै
back
छ
off,
त
and
केटाहरु
that's what's ultimately a bit of a
match
4 drives
ranking
demise there because they don't want to take over Rankaria. But looking at the overall the match ranking here,
Yes.
DRX still being able
CP
to
को
put
मात्रै
points.
चाहिँ किल
Very
4 किल
impressive by them on the north side. They were fighting,
दामी
fighting, and things started
दामी
safe.
फ्ल्याङ हानेर
I
हान्दै
will.
गयो
Okay, let's just instantly
म
address
त हग्यो
this.
भनेको यार
Junction
एकछिन
Red Force.
on this
I think
team.
तिमीले नि देख्छौ होला
points
साथी
from that here, 7.
म त
It's a
हग्यो
bit
जस्तो
of a
लाग्यो
disaster
एकछिन
considering what you should have been able to get from
जोन
this
ड्यामेज
game.
नि थियो मुजिक बगीको त्यो
You're an
झरेको
evil
ड्यामेज
person. You
I'm old now, I
you
don't
would
care.
send it to me too because man, I was fuming as soon as I saw this team leave the compound after not doing absolutely a damn thing throughout the whole match, saying this is why this team is so passive. You were saying it perfectly too, Cal. You thought that this team was going to end up maybe a little bit scared of getting sandwiched, but even then, just try to use that utility. There was already so many smokes there on that compound, and you decide to give the high ground to Regnum Karya of all teams?
The green room was in shambles, weren't we? When they made that play, it was like, what are you doing? I mean, if you want to go for a harebrained push like that, at least just use 2. If you're going to go, oh, we've got some opening knocks onto DRX. No, I don't agree with it at all. But I would agree with it better than sending all 4
Okay,
off of those
houses.
It shouldn't have been done in the first place, but it is what it is. And Regnum Karya, I will say Regnum Karya's timing on that, as soon as they saw, hang on a second, they've made a massive blunder, we can take advantage of this.
ये नेपाली लोग नेपाली तो हमारा भाई भाई है क्यों हमको आके मारा दियो
because that initial south rotation early on in the game, it actually was a really good play for them because they were able to come up behind Fourth Thrives, behind APG as well. And as those teams moved up and got fought on that hillside, they were actually able to come up and sandwich behind them. So it was actually really well set up from them as well. So coming in through that and then getting all that momentum, third-partying everything they could find up against a Nongshim who hasn't done anything all game except sit in a compound and then make a mistake. I mean, it was a very easy win for them.
Yeah, for Regnum Karya, it just came down to that aggression that they were showing throughout that match. But let's go back to Nongshim Red Force. Yeah. You were talking about maybe sending 2. Don't send in anybody.
No.
What are you doing? What are you doing giving your high ground to another team? And if they were gonna be wanting to do anything, we're actually talking about this, maybe try to set up a player on the roof of that compound because you already have utility. You didn't have to do anything throughout the match. You can use that utility to defend yourself from DRX and be ready for any type of push that Regnum Karya was gonna have to do on you.
If anything, it would have yielded more elims. Never mind like potential win or something like
that.
But anyway, that's by the way. Other teams I want to focus on as well. Good old Fourth Thrives. The team that Mr. 7 did do well. Talk to me.
I mean, it was just an amazing play out of this team. Being able to rotate early on to the southwest of the military island. After that, they were able to spot that APG had moved on. And I think this is one thing that Max and I were talking about throughout the match. We were expecting APG to actually be in military apartments. They gave that up, and Fourth Thrives was able to take full advantage of it. You can see exactly why, as Falak was able to get 6 eliminations, and I actually enjoyed what Falak was doing. He still overextended a little bit there towards the end. The team was a bit too split, and Horaa ended up just capitalizing on that. But before that, they were just showing the aggression that we have seen out of this team in group stage.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I really liked Falak's nade over onto Power, right? Was it Ragnar, the last player? He actually, with that nade, not only got rid of the team, but he opened up the position for his own team, right? So they were able to push on top of that. So even though he does overextend just a little bit, he's doing so much for his team as an entry point.
Well, if you want to extend on that too, this team kept on sweeping. That's what I enjoyed, wanting to gain control. And if we talk about sweeping, one team that was able to do that great was Power.
Yeah, they were looking good. They were looking good. Word that we are ready to head over to Barney, who is actually with Suk from Weibo after their couple of games here for the grand final.
Back to the main stage, I've got Suk here from Weibo Gaming. We are 3 maps into day 1 of the grand finals and things are starting to heat up already. Suk, the first thing I want to ask you,
Chinese Rambo,
you guys are performing pretty well off the bat. I want to ask you how you feel like your game's going so far, what can be improved on and what's going well.
首先就是你们现在已经到了总决赛嘛，然后在总决赛中，
我不知道，
感觉
我操你们，
是挺好的，就是打的成绩也不错。就想问你个人来讲的话，你觉得
来了
怎么样呢？哪里有进步的，以及要调整的吗？就提出来这个的。
还好，只不过我们在世界赛这个舞台好像有一些困难需要去克服，就比如说对手他的一些不按套路出牌，然后他们可能做出一些针对，比如说我们上一把的海岛，在机场被Power所针对了一下，因为正常情况下他一个 M 层队伍可能会去正常运营，但是他选择来到海边堵我们一个 P 港进圈的路线，所以我们可能在接下来的比赛会去着重往这方面去优化。
Well, we have done pretty well so far, but we do feel like this is the grand finals, this is the main stage. We are noticing that some of the other teams are obviously doing or at least strategizing around us. Like for example, in the last map, Erangel, when we landed at the airport, I think P team they are a team that usually lands in like an M city or something, and then they actually came over to airport with us, and they kind of targeted us. So we kind of need to adapt around that. More on our pose and our opponents have.
You sound like you know what's going on. I think that's something I need to mention as well. Something that's been really amazing to see here in the Esports arena is how many Chinese fans we have in the crowd cheering you on. It's been so amazing to see. How does it feel having this kind of national support here at the Esports World Cup? And is there anything you'd like to say to them?
就现在你到这个主舞台上面呢，也有来了很多中国粉丝到现场来支持你们。你有什么话？你现在感觉怎么样？有这些粉丝在这边在现场能支持你，以及有什么话想跟他们说的
？Jackie को दाइरहेछ यो म्याच चाहिँ म हैन आज Jackie को दाइ यो I love you. Why ni भन्दा राडी?
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us in this interview, Cirque. You're doing really well so far, but obviously we've got 3 more maps today and of course the rest of the weekend to see if you guys can prove yourself and lift that trophy. But for now, let's head back to you guys.
Well, there you have it. There is Suk giving us some info about what's going on in Weibo at the moment here. But let's talk about some of the other teams from these Erangels, of course. Horaa. They were able to put themselves in a better position, I feel, compared to
I have to agree. I think they actually did a really, really good job of not only positioning themselves correctly, but also being more aggressive with these things, you know. We saw some really great pushes, some really good timing, some really good third parties, and I want to predict that they will win a game today, because that's how they're looking.
Yeah, we'll go back over in a bit. I'm actually impressed at just first place to 8th place, currently only being separated by 8 points.
Whoa.
This might be the closest first 3 games we have ever had at an international.
Before we even move on, I want you to take a look at Power. Power's all points are just coming in from eliminations. I've never seen that before, especially for a team that's in top 4.
Well, it's consistent with the round, right? Because let's be real, in the, I think it was in the group stage survival, I think it was like 40 elims compared to about 10 or 15 placement points. So we know that they can frag out. And usually in Horaa, as we take a look through at 9th and 16th, when a team is able to frag out like that, eventually placement points will come. So maybe this is a good omen for Power.
I should hope so. I really enjoyed how they played so far today. I do agree. I think we're going to see probably a lot more placements coming their way because we've seen it from them before as well, haven't we? Certainly in the survival stage, they control those end zones and win a lot of the time. So it's bound to happen.
The way that they've been aggressive, that's what was impressive to me in that last match. The way that they were able to spread out, they were showing us exactly how they were able to play in survival stage, making sure they had those big splits, get a big area on the zone, and going to Horaa, they're pretty much doing the same thing too. They were having 1-2-1 splits, and at the end took the 5 to 4 drives and actually won until they got their party.
I've been impressed by their glow up from group stage through into survival stage and now here in the final. Let's see if they can continue it as well. But also, we have another opportunity for you guys at home to be involved, because starting from August 1st, that's today, we have the PDP Global Fashion Icon Contest officially kicking off. So, the cool thing about this competition is it accepts both in-game outfit design submissions as well as people participating by showcasing their real-life outfits for you guys to wear at home in real life as well. So use your sense of fashion to influence the world, and the total prize $120,000. To participate or view detailed rules, please visit the PDP section on the official Pubg mobile website or follow the official social media account. Exciting stuff. I think 7, you've got a great fashion sense. You could win.
1,20,000 USD just मलाई 20,000 चाहिँ तिमीहरु 1 लाख
दिनु. They're ready to kick off the hard time.
म दिन्छु नि डिजाइन बनाउन. अन्त
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gadia Esports Arena, where we are halfway through day 1 of the grand finals, and things are really starting to heat up. The spectacle is growing. We've had some amazing performances so far, and it's starting to heat up veracity.
It certainly is.
Oh,
hello. For the first day of our grand finals here in the Gadia Esports Arena. We've had some fantastic games so far.
We have, haven't we? I'm buzzing. So, map number 1, Power started extremely strong. 6 eliminations on the board, but only 1 player remained, and it was easy, securing a further 3 eliminations, bringing their total to 9. But the final face-off was between Alter Ego Esports and Alter Ego Ares, in fact, let's get it right, and Ida Esports. Alter Ego managed to secure the winner chicken dinner and 23 points on the board.
You know what, though, Barney? In match 2, we saw an incredibly defensive team, Falcons, coming on through, which was a far cry from the performance of top 3 placements we saw coming out from them during the survival stage. The final fight saw Yangon Galacticos and Team Secret going head-to-head, with Yangon Galacticos walking away victorious in that one with 12 eliminations under their belt. You get up there, Barney?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually starting to like it. Not bothered.
All right, in which case we'll go ahead and leave you up there. Match 3, however,
acting
they were under understandably the very first team to get eliminated during that one. It was grenades galore all throughout the match. However, for Four Thrives and Power Esports, each of those teams had 10 eliminations each. But unfortunately, neither of them were able to make it to the final stages of the match. Instead, however, we saw Regnum Karia walking away with a winner-winner chicken dinner. How about that one?
You know that this isn't over. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get ready for map number 4 of day 1 of the Grand
Let's go, Erangel. Last Erangel.
There it is, map number 4 coming your way, our final Erangel of the day before we head into back-to-back Miramars. It's been a lot of fun watching the front ends of the matches, and now it's time to watch the back end and see if some of our teams towards the bottom, who might be on the struggle bus, very early going, however, start to rise up. I'm Taylor Reflections, and we're joined by John. And John, I'm excited to get this one started, brother, because last game was nothing. We had, of course, that military end zone. Super sad I wasn't a part of it. I love military zones. Hoping we get one here, but did see some fumbles. I don't know, maybe some grand final nerves starting to come out.
I think it's safe to say that Nongshim Red Force's decisions were at best questionable in those final moments. They were having a bit of a nightmare in that final scenario. Very quiet all game. They were timid and hiding behind the curtains of their buildings, but in the end, they made that wrong call. They pushed out, and Regnum Kai able to sweep them under the rug. It has been quite a different story in each of our matches. That's what's led to the tables being as they are. It is very, very close towards the top side. There is no clear front runner right now, even if we've got our team at the top of the tables. As much as it's nice to be there, it is not a secure place. So, with another Erangel to play today, we are going to be
let's go
off for one more grass.
Horaa, get out. At least boss basement.
His square has descended, and he's allowed back to the green room. He can have a drink of water, get refreshed, because it is about to get messy.
Let's get it going. Game number 4, back to Erangel, and time to see who is ready, well, to drop the ball.
CP ज्यादा देखाओ स्काई तेरे त म के पाउन त म खेल्नु भन्दैन जिगल नगयो भाइ
First place after all.
Good man.
Is just at 28.
Jigal भाइले अलि छिटो छिराउनु परेको जोन.
Games in, no alarm bells ringing just yet.
यो कहाँको जोन हो यार यो त तल
when we get into
फेरि पियरको जोन जस्तो नि देख्छ यार.
I do want to see Horaa though do a lot better than where they currently are at 13. I really think that's a roster that performed very, very well throughout the group stages. Obviously throughout the survival stages.
म नेपाल खोइ अब त थाहा भएन अब त अहिले त
the same could be said for Team Falcons, who obviously the home team going for that club championship race. That's a roster that needs a top 8 finish right now. In 15, just one spot away from the bottom.
It's not friendly to be down there. Of course, you've got 18 matches.
फेरि पियरको जोन जस्तो छ यार साथी यार यो त यार.
12 we've been used to seeing for each of our teams over the survival
कि माथि यास्नतिरको पर्छ यता कि यता राइटमा कि यताको तलको बटम लेफ्टमा पर्छ के जोन.
Lower than expectation. Performances, but hopefully they can pick up the pace here in match number 4 on the day. Top players do slide on past our eyeballs. You can see Al Haji with the support from his father, of course, having a good time.
Longest elimination.
And we're heading out to the east side.
Love this zone. I think it's going to be a bit spicy for the military zone players. Well, they get a little bit profits, I think, at least for 2 teams, if I'm not mistaken, who consistently land down overhead military. Maybe we throw in a third, but you do have to kind of start thinking ahead of the game, man. At that western shooting, be a bit spicy, but here
Horaa both will come into contact with one another on there. Maybe not a hot drop, but on the contested at the moment. There is a knock sent over towards Horaa, but Fireflux playing on as 3 as they have had a confirmed down and to kick things off, especially on the east side.
Yeah, without a doubt. All the way at the bottom, I feel they have had some shining moments tournaments, but today they've fallen very flat, and already losing a player is going to put their backs even further against the wall. Horaa looks to be getting their teammate back up into the fight, so that's going to be good news for them. A team again that performed very well throughout the previous days, looking to step it up here. Sleepy is going to be split off in the distance, luckily for him.
He's going to be just fine. Nobody looking to contest. We do have Power and Ragnar relatively close. Now, we did notice one of the interesting things about Power is no placement points. In the top 4 because of the eliminations.
Ooh, maybe another either, but no, not quite able to connect. Yeah, absolutely correct. The desk was highlighting it as well, of course, with Power not able to get into the placements on any of their 3 matches, but still being in the top 5 is insane. Right, and they are right on the doorstep of potentially doing a little bit more. So if they're able to do this in these early game scraps, a much more heavy elimination focus, you know, taking inspiration from the likes of IHC a couple of years back and making sure that they are primarily focused in these scenarios, if they can get into these late games, if they can get a chicken dinner or 2 on board, bolster up those placements, it is a fearsome roster to be worried about. As we hop on board with the Falcons, though, up towards Pachinki. They don't have any contest here, but it has not been a nice sight to see if you're a Falcons fan. And I know there's plenty out there in the arena. That's right. And they aren't going to be too happy with them. For the time being, 2 points average on the games they've played. That's not good.
But we got to appreciate having Pachinki to yourselves. For Falcons, that's plenty of loot they're going to have, especially going into the next zone, which is getting tightly contested. For Falcons, they should have an easy transition in, depending on where DRX chooses to land. And, well, for DRX, they're going to leave 1 player out and maybe be the scout for the roster. How that ends up unfolding. For Power's sake, though, they continue to move central zone. But Regnum Karya currently at Fireflux and Nogsham Red Force not far behind. Could get a little bit spicy as a lot of vehicles are moving, teams are traveling, and they're starting to lock in those hardcover POIs.
Power Esports drawing up in the garage there. They will be playing all 3 of them stopping off on the building. They are sending another further on out. We get a replay. This is that hot drop Matcap. Okay. It was 2 players with knives. And in the end, Sky was able to tag him for 1, and then Sleepy chefed him up something awful over in the garage. That's not good news.
Could have been scary. Rosemary AJ from Thunder Talk.
Lovely pretend law match. Man.
He can truly do a lot of damage to this Alter Egos roster up ahead.
Thunder Talk bolstering that position as well, sidling on forwards. Rosemary back to his feet there. They are going to put a lot of investment into it. Goes for the nade. It's not a good start for Alter Ego to try and defend this top spot on the table. Keep this pace going. All 4 of them now in situ, and they can play on another disadvantage. A little bit split for Alter Ego. Alva under a lot of pressure there. The reload needs to go through. Can he connect with the auto shot?
Stays in the corner. Dodging those jump shots, goes for the retreat, and is successful in getting some distance between them, which means he can reposition, fight the duo of Thunder Talk. That fight's still going to be well underway, and he's going to continue to distance himself, maybe get an off angle onto AJ, and pays off. The down is in, but the 2 members from Thunder Talk are hot on his heels.
They're still on the outside of the wall, though, and with King falling, this means that nobody is forward for Thunder Talk. They're now trapped on the outside out in the cold, and Thunder Talk are getting rinsed right now.
Rinsed indeed, but I love that angle from King. Alva play this very, very carefully. Even if Thunder Talk wins this fight, like you said, there are dire straits, and I really do think that's a huge oversight. This duo should have pushed up on him and taken him down. Having Alva on that off angle was detrimental to Thunder Talk. Obviously, your duo ends up falling, and now you're leaving. You gain 0 value. The 10-minute fights do not work out if you want to be a champion.
I mean, much like the Omnivore from the Incredibles, right? The only thing tough enough to take down an Alter Ego player in this match is themselves. The only thing that has taken one of them down fully is that team nade. And that's not the sort of coordination that you want to see coming on through, especially in Milta Power on a circle like this. You know, it's so important to have everybody alive in a central location in these early circles, right? You want to transition in towards the late game. They've pushed up towards 30 points, though, and they will be okay. Not the end of the world,
but see how that game
why you smile?
Manages to get away. Team Secret applying the pressure. Yingon Galactica's Team Secret rotating maybe up north. Drop down south through Naya. Team Secret could get a drop on them if they continue to progress forward, which could be great. For now, just trying to heal up and just really recover. For Team Secret, though, unfortunately, I think they're going to lose at least one into blue, if I'm not mistaken. For Barnett, though, he's moving up.
So are the rest of the team. At least several of them are trying to go in pursuit here, hopping out, going for the spray. Zerus has to divert, send back behind the headland. Is there an off-angle hop out? No, but the blue zone will do a little bit more damage here. We're only at stage 1, so this is very, very survivable on these rotates. It's not really going to do much more to them, and those sims already on the bar there for Zerus mean that he's going to stay very, very healthy here unless a couple more shots connect, which it doesn't look like they're going to. Sending over the north side of the Yaz Lake. I imagine that Yangon Galacticos are going to divert. Not too keen to go in behind them, but we'll have to wait and see. The plane path, sorry, the next circle just about to come on through.
Yeah, Yangon Galacticos, I thought we're going to take the roadway and then cut through, but SafeCloud has stayed up top. He wants presence behind Team Secret. Meanwhile, the other 3 are in fact going to go in succession down low, and SafeCloud does deviate away, maybe wanting to stay in Team Secret's mindsets, but getting tightly contested in the southern portion. And E-Arena versus Falcons, a team that's been on the struggle bus, or E-Arena. I love the way that they've been playing. Granted, today, they've been falling flat, so this fight critical for both rosters.
E-Arena disengaged from that one. They had the numbers advantage. Perhaps they were reading too much into the circle. They thought if we can't conclude this fight immediately, there's a third-party potential. But they had a massive advantage in that fight. Only 2 of the Falcons were on the inside. I'm not too sure about the decision to disengage it, but we'll see how they can play on from here. Meantime, Power looking to rack up even more elims. They're now up to 1 on the tables, and that's going to put them up on 26 with no placement points.
Taking down Noxium Red Force would be huge for them, mind you. I really feel, based off of that last play in the last map where Noxium Red Force had center zone, had the hard cover POI and pushed out, I feel that was a massive oversight, potentially starting to get into their own head. So for Power, pushing this fight could be big. For Weibo, well, we can't even stay upright. We got 4 wheels. Well, they decide to use 2.
They're going to maintain course though, self-righting, going all the way out west for a wide wrap from Weibo to go out on that west side bridge. APG, they're ahead. Alpha Gaming will send over that east side bridge, fairly uncontested now, and they are sending up north. Yeah, this is just the continuing long rotate from Weibo to go out to all the way on that west side. They're getting across the bridge. They'll be pushing in from around Potato Hill, but don't expect to see them for another 2 minutes.
That's right. We won't see them for a long time. For APG, well, you saw what the game plan was. They were setting up to gatekeep Weibo. So this long rotate, in my opinion, was critical for Weibo. They only had one choice, and that was to take the western side bridge. For APG, they don't see any Weibo members. Okay, we move on out and start to progress towards Milta, maybe towards Power. Meanwhile, though, we do have Regnum Karya potentially setting up a trap on Horaa, who's going to be up just ahead. A team that played so well through the early stages, now struggling today.
I mean, they're sequestered right up into the cliffs over Prison. It does severely limit their sightlines here for Regnum Karya. They're going to have to try just gather that info from the sound. They have got that outpost Silas a little bit disparate from them. We'll be rotating around, feeding back a little bit more info. But for the time being, they are a little bit crunched in here. Horaa a little bit less so. They get a little bit more leeway on the side of that Prison cliff face. Teams trying to get central. Nobody really getting too aggy with it just now. It's only Thundertalk who have lost 2 players and a couple of those earlier elims coming on through as well.
See DRX off in the distance. They've got a couple of teams in their line of sights. Like you said, nobody getting aggro just yet. We see a zone shift up towards the north. For the majority of teams, they're already pretty much sequestered where they currently are. For the rosters like Power, APG, Thundertalk, the duo, Alter Egos. Weibo finally started to get their first member out of the blue zone as they head up towards north through school. Maybe even towards Yangon Galacticos. But everybody rotating in. I'm hearing a lot more shots this time around. No surprise for Falcons. Regnum Karya does not crash into him, and it looks like they're not going to.
Silas target
they're crashing in on that position with the number of third parties available. Maybe it's
IQ.
But instead they turn over towards the dip, and it's fourth.
Right,
that is nasty. The team from Pakistan is going to be eliminated very, very quickly.
Four Thrives get
Silas
melted off the map. You know, a team
Smoke
that dominated throughout group stage, struggling today. We questioned those days off. Would it be helpful? Would it not? Well, for Four Thrives, Wild also falling. Ragnar now down. Pubg getting active. Eda's gonna fall. It's not just a amount of teams and bodies on the ground in this area. Pubg getting the cleanup. Starkin up ahead, cooking a nade, and this nade, it could be devastating to Power.
Darkin unleashes it over towards Fadan. The bounce is good. And it will connect for the knock. Elgato now, the last player alive for Power. They have they'll want a little bit more, and he's now got a nade. They know where Eda is playing, and no one's getting out of this dip unscathed. The nade goes long, and Darkin pushes forwards. Elgato around the smoke, goes for the spray, and of course, there's the shutdown from the off angle. Shut everything down, and there is no one alive.
Three
teams just like that in one engagement. Firefly's playing spoiler. We'll talk about that in just a second. Team Secret now against Alter Egos. You called it. Caster Kirstova getting aggro. Well, now we got everyone getting aggro all at the same time. Crypto on the pickup. Ayala over in the corner, and another team has been lost. We just lost 4 teams in the span of about 45 seconds.
That was insane. 4 teams went into that dip. It was insane. Wow. It was being held, I believe, originally by Thrives, yet then both and Ida crashed in at the same time, and then Power lapped in over the top. Fireflux were just like, this is ridiculous, guys. You need to chill out. They put them in the cooler, and it's going to maintain Power's record of getting no place. 5 elips on this match.
It's such a bummer, though, for Power, because Al-Haji is the last one standing. He's the champion of the team fights. 4 teams in one area. Good job, buddy. I got you. Take some weight down. Either way, like you said, 5 elips. You got to be happy with that. For Alter Egos at 5 themselves. And, of course, another zone shift going to be taking place.
Absolutely insane stuff. Hard south shift, and this is going to help out teams like DRX, if they can hold the open. A lot of open ground, right? We saw how difficult it is to approach this Falcons position.
Lovely position, lovely.
It gets slightly easier, right? Because there's fewer and fewer positions that sit around them that can take those third-party shots. There's fewer teams that are...
Bot level what are sorry guys. Sorry Sati.
Able to even up the odds. Silence Team Secret and send them packing to the next game. Thunder Talk finally back on your screen, and well, not for long.
China versus China
derby right now between Weibo and Thunder Talk, but it seems pretty clean, done and dusted. 3 players alive.
China team bag
into the horizon.
Fishing is gone. Thunder Talk's been in survival mode since the early goings of this game. 2 eliminations. You're not too happy. Points will help help you out. Great angle. Maybe surprise some members from DRX up ahead if you can get a line of sight on them. Nobody can be seen just yet, but Doc is a guy that's sneaky, and if he sees you, he's taking you down.
Nongshim Red Force, they've got 2 players alive, 1 further back. Let's hope they can do a little bit better, although with only 2 players right on the edge here, it's going to be difficult. That shelter position can keep them alive for quite a while. Ching takes a couple of shots over towards Seoul, who's actually going to reposition away from this one, but Ching has to push a little bit further in. He's going to go into the wake of APG. This rotate to happen.
The fact that he's still alive is incredible. This was, I believe, and actually should be Doc to be on the opposite side. And so this Doc will stay where he's currently at to overlook everybody who's going to be up. You got DRX still up in the distance. So DRX in a pretty precarious spot, I have to say so, because Nongshim Red Force is over there. They have a presence. And then you also have another one from a distance. Jing narrowly avoiding getting squashed. 33Z hops out. And finally, Thunder Talk will fall. Again, surviving for the longest time. But one by one, they were apart until they were finally eliminated.
And in their wake, this rotate will be pursued down by Horaa, who are going to move out now to the southeast.
east side. All 4 of their players are alive, and they're looking for a good game here. Having underperformed so far in the first 3 matches, they're going to try and take on EL representatives as they are going to try and find that rat back around. The smoke's keeping them safe, but both of these 2 teams are actually right up and against the blue zone. Horaa overextending now.
Logical! Just
play that east side. They actually lose Krypton over on the north edge, so they can't really afford to place too much pressure on this south side.
Question is, do they? Horaa continues to get closer and closer. Krypton maybe tempting that he wants to get away. Alva has dipped himself. But Krypton will continue to fight, and you know he's a scary player. 4 eliminations already, John, and a guy that can very well take down the entirety of the Horaa roster if they're not careful. For Sky, he needs to keep his head on a swivel. He's going to be the one to truly shut down Krypton if he makes an attempt to maybe challenge him.
Krypton pumping today. Doing a lot of work for the roster, but with only 2 players against the 3, they do have the disadvantage. They're on the outskirts as well. Their options fairly limited. I wouldn't be too surprised to see them try and sweep up north. With Horaa pushing into the tower, they're going to be a little bit less mobile, not going to be as easily able to go in pursuit, but they could equally try and find Sky, and that looks like maybe what they're going to try and do here. Wrap back around.
Sky?
Open up a window.
मुझे high ground advantage भयो.
Weibo Gaming are just over that line, and Krypton in danger now. Sky
अब त गाह्रो छ है.
low on ammo here.
Oh, but yeah, it was Alva, so the car was a distraction.
No.
Pushing up,
Sky!
He's getting pressure by Horaa as they push in. Alva, a sliver of hell.
No fear, lovely.
Now, damage control. He's got Weibo to his flanks. But now, you've got one alter ego member of Krypton right smack dab in between Weibo and the Horaa roster.
No fear,
gotta make a decision. Who do we challenge first? Krypton to solo, Weibo up ahead. Do we disengage and maybe go a little bit
Skyले last hogयो के मुजी गाडीबाट कस्तो नलारेको.
Making that decision.
If I'm Weibo, I'm letting the blue zone handle Krypton, and I think it's a similar call right now. You just need to negotiate it.
नेपालीहरु Horaa Esports. ए माफी निन्जा उ रन्डीको मान.
Horaa earlier on in that engagement. So they should know that there's a player down this hill. You don't need to put this much pressure on. This is overexposing potentially to the Horaa position. And Order's getting a little bit froggy.
He definitely is.
Order to मुझे हाईमा आउनला.
Definitely is. No fears right there. Ready to apex this hill. Krypton to the right. This is going to get spicy.
Krypton, ओए पड्का त म्याच सिक्ने Krypton ओए. रन्डीको बान पड्का त मुझी आमाको दुधा छन् पड्का त. Twicka match
takes down Krypton in this moment.
Don't get it, Lord.
It's going to be free and clear to make this.
No fear.
It was no fear along with Order who takes him down. Order getting the elimination. Now Weibo can put all the
no fear. No.
Who's up ahead?
They can
Order
try and now turn and get ahead of this one. They do still have a couple of players in tow. They've got that outpost down to the southwest side in 33Z, who's been scouting, who's been gathering that information. Horaa, they've been locked into this fight for a while. Looking at the rest of the circle, meanwhile, Falcons have been chilling in their building for a long time now. They've managed to rack up 3 elim points, and that's making a couple more of the nades land over towards Fireflux. They're going to have to think about getting out of this business, though. The time being, they are right on the edge of the circle. They'll be safe for now. HyperX have been holding out on this southwest for a nice while as well. But UNKOWN Galacticos going to be putting pressure on. I feel like that's the next crash coming on through, and Say Cloud's going to send it.
They're absolutely going to be the next.
उता देखा ना CP ले ठोके order line match. अंदर छाड़े run मत CP ले. Order line ठोक दिया match. Not finish one run order match. Back order match. Nepalese CP.
They've also taken some damage. A downed player, so they're going to have to go at it 3 strong.
उता देखा ना उता यार. भाई ये टीम की होता नहीं कि टीम के अब बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम लोग.
And the winner is potentially controlling the entirety of the western portion of zone.
एक ही लाया मुझे
It's going to be really difficult to move as Falcons when UNKOWN Galacticos
भागेगा Weibo Gaming था.
are able to claim this one, but so far nobody is dead on that southwest border. All the teams there have 4 players alive, both of them maintaining the entire roster. Alpha could potentially have an impact with Top and Seoul on the south side, but I imagine they're going to be thinking more about going east. You can see Top trying to hold face and around the shelter entrance. It's just nobody making that first move right now, and they can chill out for a little bit longer with the circle.
APG can be truly punishing to DRX. The only thing stopping them from shooting, I believe, are the smokes. They just can't get the line of sight. But Top should have infinite vision. There's going to be Top on one full finish on one DRX member who's now starts to push up. This gives an opportunity for Yangon Galacticus to start firing. Weibo says enough is enough. Also taking a tremendous amount of damage. It comes to show you literally nobody is safe. And Weibo on the outskirts of zone fully eliminated.
It's in circles like this that you've got to think potentially Firefox could have a chance at this fight on the southwest side doesn't conclude, but it looks like Yangon have isolated their entrance and will be playing on fairly convincingly. So very likely to get behind the rock to dash out to try and find that res. Don't have a lot of time to get this one.
Currently, Yangon Galacticus have a beautiful spot where they are at. If the zone favors them on the next shift, they are going to be set up very nicely to control the end game. Of course, depending on what DRX and APG decide to do from their current position. For Falcons, they refuse to move, but now they have to start going a little bit more forward, which means are very much ready for them. But the good news is Mormon was taken down just a little bit ago. He's down but not out, and E-Arena have to make a decision. Do we don't have a choice. Also got Romeo taking him out, so YG getting active, and now taking the advantage in the mid zone. Here comes the Falcons.
The north side now could conclude that the Falcons may have all the leverage they need to try and leapfrog south. But you can see how flat and open it is. Towards E-Arena especially. Romeo is laying down the law from the high ground there. DRX last guy lovely. It's Horaa doing a lot. Still has a little bit.
Lois guy lovely.
Match across the way. Gonna have to try and hide now behind the rocks, but will be pushed by that blue zone. DRX on the precipice.
Can use them with the Agavaler
also popping up against each other. Joker is going to fall, so is Segura. E-Arena are out of there. Now Falcons have a good foothold on the northern part of the zone. So really, Falcons, Yangon Galacticus, in an absolute power spot, you would have to assume, unless the solo from DRX can dismantle. The Yangon just up ahead, and let's not forget Scarface, another solo for Fireflux, who's going to be dead center. Falcons now have to push up, and so does Horaa.
It's this little hill that you can see in front of Koa inside this zone, and you're right. Why is it blessed, but if it keeps going down like this, it's going to get a little bit more tenuous here on the northern side. Redox not happy behind the wall for Falcons to flex back out. I don't know if they can commit to this. They'd have to expend a lot of smoke. In the meantime, Yangon Galacticos, they are going to have to make a move.
Yes, they got to push forward, and there's a lot of open space. They've been hanging out next to this cave for the longest time. But now the time to get active is in. And you got No Fear, who's been doing such a great job from a distance, being detrimental to each and every roster he's come across. So he's going to be the X factor for me for the Horaa roster, at least when Yangon Galacticus starts to rotate over for the DRX. I don't know if he's going to be able to survive this. I really don't. But for him, all eyes on YG, who now start to move forward.
YG bowl is going to answer our question of who takes this game. If Yangon get mowed down now by Falcons, it's going to be all Falcons for the victory.
Wait,
Skippy, yes. And match YG सारे को गेट है ठोक्न पर्छ म and please Sleepy तिमी त तिम्रो म मुजी सुपर च्याट हाल्छु अब छिटै स्यालेरी आएपछि ए होराको सपोर्टरहरु परे नेपाली and the match is got his P90 and the match
are now gone. We're getting deep into it. Only 4 more teams remain. And really one of them is inconsequential. It's only a solo from DRX. Say Cloud trying to get back on to his feet. Yangon Galacticus with the desperation push. And it's Falcons from Koa taking him out.
A little ridgeline to play.
Wait, Skyline, yo muzile.
From Horaa for the time being, Yango Galacticos may be able to stay up as two, but Smile.
Lovely no fear, right? Love you, mera bhai, love you.
Try and get a little bit more though. They're putting pressure onto the Falcons because of the rotate out to the west side to deal with
matching 3v4.
Yango Galacticos out of the mix. Horaa taking the timing of this very well. They get that flex out to the side, but Falcons are piecing themselves back together. And now over towards Narvalo, Koa finds that retreat.
3v4 yaar, way sati goosebump.
No Fear has been the guy, the linchpin for the whole roster, and now he has
no fear off angle lord to meet cover at but
he still has such a great
no jar there is guy no fear wo match bhai 1v3 run to come
needs to get active. A Hail Mary attempt.
Lovely.
It looks to be the case. No Fear, does he have it in him to clutch this up while he continues to push up? Falcons,
you can do it mid bhai
shots needed, but they finally
GG yaar कसम यार GG यार दामी खेलेको यार यो स्काई चाहिँ ला हात मुजी lovely यार म्याच बरु म्याच कसम दामी खेलेको यार सिपी बचाउन नजानी भए बरु हुन्थ्यो होला चान्स यार
I felt like
they
could slip the noose there, but in the end, they were hung out to dry, and that is a beautiful way to close down. A nice chunk of elims as well added on to the Falcons' count.
Without a
doubt, and you can also give their flowers over to Horaa. Horaa needed some points. They were down in 13th place at the start of the game. Getting that second is going to be massive, and the same thing could be said for Fireflux. Surviving as long as they did, yes, it's not going to be a tremendous amount, but it's at least a start. It's only two more to go today, and therefore a big chance to rise up the ranks. There it is. Two Miramars coming your way after the break.
कस्तो राम्रो हान्दै यार यो मुजी उसले UMD ले यो मलाई ए नोभियरले हाने रहेछ नि त 1v1 चान्स थियो यार सिपीले बचाउन गरे अलि ढिलो अलि चिप्ले जस्तो लाग्यो के दामी हानेको तर अन्डीको बाद म्याच किन चुप खाते मुजी झुकेर जित गस्ती मार्नु मुजी बुझिस हामी ओपन बनाउँदै म सर्पा यसरी खेतबारीमा च्यापेर बस्छ जान्छ सर्पा लान्छ सात त गइसकेको थियो होला के त्यसको के नोफीहरूले हान्छ भनेर होइन त नि ढुक्का हानिदिन्थ्यो होला क्या अनि त्यो सुरुको नक हुने चाहिँ सक्थ्यो होला कि बिचरा भाइले मलाई त्यस्तो लाग्छ त्यो सुरुको P90ले त्यो रुखको नक हुने भए चाहिँ हान्न सक्थ्यो होला क्या 1v4 नै दुईटा नक भएपछि त्यसको दुईटा त होइन अझ हल्का कन्फिडेन्स आउँछ त म्याचमा फड्केर राख्दै का बगेर भने फुच्चे भने धन्दै एउटाको पिटा खाएको थियो रानमाथि त्यही होला क्या नखाएको नि म चाहिँ को हो त्यसको नाम नि थाहा कि त्यसले हान्यो होला क्या लास्ट राउन्ड झुक्केर हानेको छि नोभियरसँग स्मोक नि धेरै थिएन होला बिचरा त्यो ड्रप त लुटे थियो साथी निस्किनु पर्छ होला र हामी त 10 बज्न लाग्यो कोही नयाँ मम्मी एकछिन निस्किनु पर्छ होला यो गेम हेर्दा हेर्दा जानुपर्छ होला हामी स्याड क्यान यु रन्डीको छ इन्टरनेट म्याच फुट्न लाग्यो राउटरले किन रातो बोलिरहेको म्याच 6-7,000 आयो त MBBS त के भएको र अब त मिरामार होइन अन्त मिरामार फेरि यस्तो हेर्न मन लाग्छ क्या मलाई त यार छुटाउनै मन लाग्दैन राम्रै चल्यो गुवा यार मुजी 1 मिनेट छ यार हगेर नि आउन भ्याउन्न यार साथी हेर्दै गर ल म हगेर आउँछु तुफान हगेर आउँछु आज क्वालिटी जो ताक्यो उतैबाट के युट्युब पनि त्यस्तै छ क्या यहाँ त बबाल आउँथेन त है प्राय नर्मली है तेरा बाबु सुरु भयो यार हग्दैन नि मन लागेन फेरि हगेन अहिले भएर काममा जानुपर्छ
Falcons flying high for the last Erangel of the day for day number 1 of the grand finals and looking to be one step closer towards that trophy. Joining me, Neptura, as well as Seven to talk about this game. Neptura, Falcons had a good compound and they were able to play it out nicely in the end.
Finally, it's about time we see something from the Falcons. Dare I say I want to see a little bit more. I wasn't entirely pleased with how that game went, but they got the win. That's what they needed to do. Fair enough, right? I did like how they played some of those things. I want to start off by saying that initial push onto Fireflux, rather, was the wrong play, and I thought that. I was like, no, you need to be looking at E-Arena. They did in the end on the circle shift. They were able to take them out completely. That frees up the north side of the zone, really able to then do what they want. I will say, Seven, Horaa really tried their best. Some really nice controlling angles that they got there, but I think Narvalo in particular, able to have that off angle, really helped. For me, the Falcons, I think that they should have done a little bit more. Still played a little bit too defensively, but in the end, they started to split off a little bit. It was much better.
Well, here's the head-to-head brought to you by the Saudi National Bank team. Falcons versus Horaa from this previous game. Horaa doing quite a bit of work, doing quite a lot of damage here, 7 overall, but not quite able to keep up with Team Falcons, mainly thanks to that circle shift towards the end.
Yeah, Team Falcons having that circle shift that definitely helped them big time. And I think one of the main worries that I had looking at Team Falcons was that they just weren't spreading enough. They weren't gaining enough control of that circle. And meanwhile, Horaa was being able to do that, but due to the fact that Horaa has just been fighting so many teams that whole match, and they had already lost a player, it became almost near impossible. As soon as Sky went down trying to get that off angle, it was set and done for Falcons to be able to get the win, but I got to give compliments to Horaa. I have been enjoying those splits that this team has been doing. They have gone from 1-2-1 splits, 3-1, and then they end up mixing it up to everybody just going solo. They're making sure that they just get a lot of the zone, and they were able to do that perfectly at one point. They had full control of the southeast.
But Falcons will walk away with 22 points there with the 12 eliminations, thanks to Narvalo, the Frenchman. We love the French being able to hold on to that position towards the top there. Neptura is able to overlook exactly what was going on and hold their opponents at bay.
You know what's so interesting about the overalls being so close as well? Is Falcons were at the bottom of the leaderboard with 22 points. They are now looking at the top 8, which is a really nice setup for the last 2 games of the day. Going into tomorrow as well, this is exactly, I think, the right timing for them to get a win, because now that mindset should be super refreshed.
Did Power get a lot of eliminations and no placement points against 7?
Power's like placement points. What are those? We're just going to go with, you know what? Let's continue to be aggressive. Yeah, they ended up with 5 eliminations. No surprise there out of that team. DRX, I was actually really surprised at the push that DRX ended up doing on Young Galacticos. They thought that maybe they were going to be able to just win that engagement, but little did they know Horaa was looking to third-party that fight, and it kind of opened later the area of just for Horaa to try to gain more control of the circles.
Yeah, that's kind of the important thing when you get a shift like that, right? Neptura, the fact that those teams down in the south, they're very likely to not win out that game. So focus on those eliminations down to the south with the Yangon and the Horaa situation going on. And Horaa was able to do that brilliantly, I think, in those final moments.
They were. I mean, I think Yangon did what the only thing they could do. It's so open. It's such a wide area to use. They did what they could. Horaa were very, very proactive. I love this new Horaa that we're seeing, that they're able to not only control and be passive, but also be super aggressive and take those fights.
Yeah, and for Yangon, I got to give him some props because, as you mentioned, they did exactly what they needed to do, which was making sure that they were proactive and backing people off. They made DRX back off early on. DRX ultimately wanted to take that fight. It didn't end up working out. And for Young Galacticos, they were looking at the arena. They were making sure that they made the rotations hard. They were just trying to get any point possible getting those eliminations. I wish they would have made a sooner decision on just making a full push towards where Team Falcons was. That would have been the winning play for that squad.
Potentially. And now, though, with Erangel done, we move on to Miramar and see how it's going to play out for the last 2 games here of the day. Let's take a look at the breakdown of the numbers, see who's able to perform. And you've got teams in there like Horaa. I think Weibo as well still needs to do a little bit more here. Neptura overall. Alter Ego, strong in that first game of the day, but so far beyond that, been a bit more quiet, I think.
They have. It's almost like they're waiting for something, which makes me nervous because last time they just kind of held their peace and waited a little while. We saw a very strong day from them, so we'll see about that. I am interested as well, though. I'm kind of surprised that APG are not here. Alpha Gaming, not on this list. Historically, a team that's very, very good on Miramar, just not making those numbers.
Yeah, one of the teams that I'm going to be looking at that was there towards the top is going to be none other than Rangam Karya. This team has been so aggressive. I feel like going into Miramar, I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more tactical play out of this squad, being able to actually take their time, Scott, because right now it's just full go, go, go whenever they do end up pushing. And you can see Young Galacticos with that play doing just enough, being in first place.
Just 11 points between number 1 and 8th. But yes, as you say, Young Galacticos being able to wrestle away number 1 from Alter Ego is definitely a big move. What are you laughing at? What's wrong?
I just find it insane that we are in the grand finals of PMWC at EWC 25, and Power Esports somehow has managed to find themselves 4th place, 0 placement points, 30 eliminations.
It bears repeating. I'm worried in case they do start getting placement points here.
Right?
They could rocket up the leaderboards with also the elimination power that they're showing. And this isn't the power that I saw in the group stage. I was like, okay, they're sitting pretty, they're waiting, they're sitting in Milta, they're moving out and getting themselves a win, a slow win as it were. But they're just all guns blazing at the moment, Neptune. It's crazy.
They really are. I think it goes to show again that sometimes going to survival stage is incredibly beneficial. They've had those 2 extra days to really get their stride, get that momentum going, and now look at them.
Definitely impressive stuff. We'll see if this can continue. Imagine if they finished it with just like no placement points, but like 90 elims.
Please do that. That's what I want. That'll be me unboxing a surprise.
You'd be very excited. Now let's all unbox together because the Pubg Mobile Airdrop Carnival is now live. Don't miss out the final 3 days this weekend. Log in to summon your supply airdrop and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers for your chance to win official merch, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participate is guaranteed rewards. So come and get those unboxings done. All these players, they can't unbox right now because they're ready to get into Miramar. So without further ado, thank you very much, guys. It is time to head over to the Dusty Dunes. It's Miramar. Let's get it for the penultimate game of the day.
Falcons are able to rise again with a chicken dinner in match number 4 on the day, but they need to keep pace now. Goodness me, try not to swallow the water next time. But either way, they are going to have to try and keep pace with the top page because they have managed to breach there. But, you know, Power currently no placement points, still ahead of them, right? There's a little bit more to do. And if you want to keep track of exactly what every single one of our players is doing during the PMWC, you can on our official map feed on the Pubg Mobile Esports channel. You can see where everybody's rotating all the time, all day. It is useful if you want to break things down, if you want to get a little insight as to what teams are doing at every step of the match.
That's it, isn't it? Well, hey, we're getting into Miramar. You mentioned Falcons, but I love what the desk said about Power. It's insane how high up the standings they are purely based off of eliminations, and you do raise the question, they start getting placement points, I think they're going to be the champions. I really do, at least based off of their performance over the 4 games that we have witnessed. It is spectacular, and I think a rarity, really, to see how well Power is doing. And, well, you got to appreciate it. You got to love it. Falcons jump up the standings. Power still doing very, very well. Yangon Galacticos taking over first place for the Alter Ego Eris team, who was there for the longest time. Things are shifting about, and the most important thing, right, is to make sure you are the team going into day 3 setting the threshold.
With 6 matches to play today, getting anything over 50 points will be great news. I mean, the biggest games that we've seen, or days rather, that we've seen for teams like Nongshim Red Force, I think they were able to get over 60 points in a single day.
That's right.
So getting up there would be phenomenal. But the fact is, this table is looking really flat. You can guarantee that there's going to be a little bit more volatility towards the top side of these tables with how close things are. I mean, from first place down towards, I mean, getting on to
तेरो जलाइ नै छैन के चाहिँ देखाएको छौ यत्रो हस मत्रो हस त के देखाएको तैले चाहिँ बोसो कि डन्डीपुर
Well, to put in perspective, what Falcons, I believe, was in 14th or so place going into that last game. They end up getting the winner chicken dinner, 12 eliminations, putting them all the way up in top 6. And mind you, they are only just 3 points away from breaking into top 3. That's how close it is. So a lot of volatility. Things are going to continue to shift within our top 5. And, well, with Alpha 7 not being here, the championship is wide open. Anybody can take it. The question is, who wants it the most? The players themselves, the ones that control their destiny. Map number 5, we're heading into Miramar. Where are we going?
कसको प्लेन हो के यो जहिले नि
एउटैको प्लेन time around from by them over towards Impala. So north entrance a little bit difficult and also potentially tricky to get towards. Now uncontested because Alpha 7 did so badly that they weren't able to make it into this stage of the tournament. Falcons would be alone on that, but they have to get there first, and the question is, do they want to get out there? It's about 3 kilometers away from this plane path, maybe a little bit more actually, so it could be difficult to get up towards. But that western path rotate can be nice and friendly. It's a question of getting those vehicles on side though, as we head on in our plane now, just crossing.
Don't think we're going to have any hot drops, at least based off of where I believe these teams are going to be landing for our first Miramar in grand finals of day 1, but there is always a chance, right? Things get spicy, even though people put their landing zones out there, doesn't mean they're not willing to change it up and take a team by surprise. Well, that could very well happen. I believe going back to the survival stage, we had a bit of a hot drop over in El Pozo. That was an area that we were watching very closely. So maybe we see a repeat of that on the left-hand side by Horaa. That's going to be an interesting one if they decide to land next to each other. Very curious what the second I should say is going to pop up, because that's going to tell the true story of what we can expect.
Ooh, I'm looking at Picardo right now. There's a lot of teams in the air over it right now. Could be difficult. Power definitely looking to try and drop there. I think Ida are going to go a little bit longer, as are Nongshim Red Force. Regnum Kaya disengaging from it as well.
I'm not sure. A
little bit close by for DRX and Weibo, but they will charge.
The taxi man 5 minutes पुग्छ
to Aggie. Right now, West Coast though.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Falcons, Horaa, well, they're relatively close to each other. Obviously trying to land on those vehicles so they can have rotates, maybe even taking high ground a little bit later on. But they do separate themselves. Start to see some split drops, and at least coming into this, I was expecting at least 3 split drops, which we do get a couple of. Falcons by far taking the cake with Ralph all the way in the south, forced to go up north to join Narvalo and Koa, which is going to be doing exactly that. Horaa, though, not far behind necessarily. I'm curious if they decide to challenge the solo of Ralph, that they choose to get spicy.
I don't think this is a good idea. If Horaa want to head up towards the north, I wouldn't be surprised to see them send all the way to a place like Cobraria, currently unoccupied. I think chasing down the solo, if they can get the shots, sure, but if Ralph can get over towards El Pozo as soon as he goes in, I don't think if you're Horaa, you want to commit here, right? And the fact is that there's about 600, 700 meters between these two teams. I don't think that they're going to be able to capture this one. But I think heading up to La Cobraria on a circle like this is potentially a little bit better of a decision to make, right? In this scenario, you'll be up on the north side. You know not too many teams are going to be there. You'll be out early. Over towards that north side on a circle like this, and they're going to be able to find it. Okay, hang on a minute, maybe they are going to try. I don't like the decision to chase this one down. Right. You don't want hot drops, right? Sure, you might be able to pick up a point early.
Oh, they're close.
Alvalo actually, who's already had some looting time, might actually take some shots out. This is why you don't want to pursue too far.
Gets a little bit of damage on
यो
the
चाहिँ
jungle, but not
कति
enough to
रिस
drop
गरेको हो र
him.
Esports
If
लाई
Horaa was wanting to pursue Falcons, I believe those shots ringing out is going to change their minds, and they'll continue to go up north. And for Falcons, they'll continue to distance themselves, go towards El Pozo, and loot up. So this fight most likely not going to happen anymore. Maybe Horaa was thinking about it, but the shots were enough to deter them. Now we start to look more into the stage. Naksham Red Force, great spot central. We also have Alter Egos who are set up quite nicely. They've got the 2-2 split, plenty of loot between them. I think Alter Egos are due for a pretty decent game. I'm kind of feeling, I don't know.
Last match
my sense are telling me Alter Egos. This is their game to take.
What's going to happen is Power are going to get a chicken dinner with 0 elims.
Oh, show 0 elims.
Yeah, then anyone looking at the table would be like, oh, that's a normal amount. But no, it'll be the weirdest split you've ever seen in your life. Goodness me. No, I'm not entirely sure, of course. There's still 16
because you have entirely wrong, mate.
Who are in this one. However, Power are in a very central location on this, just down to the east of Hacienda del Patron, with Thunder Talk out to their further east as well. They can chill out for the time being. We're up to about 5 minutes now, which means looting phase should be over for a lot of the teams that hit ground early. So teams like Power, who dropped Ricardo, they should be done and dusted. However, teams like Horaa and Falcons, they're going to be out and looting for a little bit longer, maybe up to minute 6, 7, potentially, if Horaa actually don't settle down.
Yeah, they are moving and grooving. The good thing for them, the entire northern zone of this stage is wide open, including those hilltops that they can take over if they so decide. I do start to look towards Fireflux, however. Regnum Caria, E Arena, Team Secret, relatively close. DRX is getting very close to E Arena, mind you. They are pushing straight in. You notice on your screen top left, there will be an E Arena member. Keep their head on
the last passive match is हाम्रो टिम आउनेलाई चाहिँ फेरि एग्रेसिभ खेल्दिने के रन
keep things nice and linear, a nice spread out train.
ए अघि हाम्रो टिम आउनेलाई चाहिँ
नहेलेको but DRX on their rotate. Keep on the southeast flank. And of course, we always advise against all rotating vehicles, especially early and especially on Miramar. Getting spotted out can be disastrous. So taking this 4-player convoy, exactly how you want to be operating. If you guys are home and trying to pick up some tips, that's a good one. Early on, playing split, you're very, very mobile. A little bit flexible. That's what DRX are looking for as they head to the east of Generalis, up towards potentially where Alter Ego and Team Secret are playing.
And also for Fourth Thrives in the same path as Ida as they continue to move up north. Take a look at Yangon Galacticus, a team that has been performing incredibly well. Currently first place off the back of a third place game number 4. They've been highly consistent. Been waiting for this roster to truly show what they're made of. I think today has been the shining example of what we can expect Yangon Galacticus to be. They'll be rotating up north kind of in the same fashion that Falcons most likely going up Falcons are at. But I do have some concern if that is going to be the case, because there's not going to be a lot of areas they can truly park the bus, because Falcons and Horaa are controlling that area, and there is an opportunity for Yangon Galacticus if they go a little bit too far north to get pincered between both of those rosters, so they have to play this carefully.
Four Thrives taking up position on the high ground. Fireflux, they caught the arena, and that's 2 of them going down very, very quickly. And that's a third as well. This is nasty news for the team at the bottom of the tables as well. Oh dear. That's 2 players now remain for them. Going quite well for Fireflux to regroup on this spot. Tony K, Joker, that's another one sent on in, and Scarface handles business. This is what we've been waiting to see from Fireflux today. They were highly performant in the survival stages, and that is what
clean wipe.
Shooting the bodies. Fireflux has awoken from their slumber. 13th place no longer. They want to be up in the top 5 off the back of our last 2 games. Nice to see them finally getting active for E Arena. Well, a team that was truly the shining example throughout the survival stage, struggling tremendously, and even surprising the fact that they get their compound taken over, because one of the shining examples about E Arena that I truly started becoming a much more fan of was their ability to hold down hardcover POIs. You could not break in. It didn't matter if there was 2 or 3 teams challenging their house. they were going to hold it down. In this case, though, they only get wiped, and Fireflux stays up nice and strong, and they've got a great spot in the current zone. Let's see what the next one holds.
Hey, you know what? The arena still have the moves. Have you seen those?
Don't hacker, man.
At the start of the day, I saw the moonwalk today.
Jiggle man, माथिबाट यसो हैन छिर्ता मा खाली
It was certainly identifiable. Circle over to the east side
here. A
lot of open ground to the east side of San Martin, and has ended up Thron. Currently, the center of the circle still occupied by Alter Ego under quite a big spread. I imagine they're going to want to look to get back together here with DRX on the south flank, with Thundertalk as well on a bit of a split, but a lot closer together, about 60 meters between both of their outposts here for Thundertalk.
Well, same narrative for me for Yangon Galactica. Falcons and Horaa, but they do decide to stay on the outskirts of the zone. But even so, they're still going to have to deal with Falcons or Horaa most likely once they start to come in. And now you add in 4 Thrives. You got 4 teams who could be contesting each other on the northern zone of the current stage. That's going to be a fight to watch out for without question. But for Power, the high ground is in. Fireflux is very aware of this, but you got to appreciate the current power position from Power Esports.
Easy with the high ground over towards Ketch. I think they're both aware of each other's position here and just biding their time. Of course, these positions on these plateaus always look so powerful. The difficulty is as soon as you get knocked or as soon as you take a challenge and maybe you get a little bit too bold, you go down. It's a massive mission to try and get you back up, right? You have to either send another player up there or you have to drop down when you've already been knocked and someone has to rotate out towards you. It takes a lot of time, a lot of investment on that, so you do need to be very careful with those high ground positions.
Fireflux going to be opposite of Falcons, continue to move up to stay alive for quite some time. The only shots, the only activity we see from them so far was firing on Sleepy. It was on the back of a buggy. Sort of started to rotate up. Yangon Galactica's taking a huge rotate north. They'll most likely drop south. A lot more distance between them than I was expecting. I really thought they were going to be closely contested. You do have 4 Thrives with Naki and Co, who's going to be very, very close to the Falcons roster.
Oi, Ismail the Khosio.
Potentially crash in on each other for Weibo. Why is Ismail the Khosio? In their line of sights, but this 4 Thrives Falcons fight, it's going down.
Wait, bag. Helgan see your bag.
But will he be able to get away here? I'm not sure if the cover's going to be there. Just about escapes. Not unscathed though, and the vehicle's going to be low, as is his health bar. Navalo just putting a little bit of suppression down. They will try and maintain the outskirts here on the northern.
Yeah,
they'll be okay for the time being.
Okay, for the time being, as you said, staying alive just a little bit longer. They kind of tempted fate, pushing the 4 Thrives, take over the compound. 4 Thrives said, nah, it's simply not going to work. Another zone shift is going to take place. You know, this YG, Yangon Galactica's still up in the north. They've been in blue now for, I want to say, nearly half of the game at this point.
Nice one,
they'll have to continue to drop down south, which is going to be right next to Falcons. So that fight most likely going to ensue with Falcons getting their health all the way back up. I think this is about to go down.
I think they might actually, well, it depends, yeah, if they go for that rotate out to the east, it might be a little bit less. For Yangon Galactica. Too overexposed as DRX. Away. So Regnum Karya. That's not too favorable, but they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, man.
Nice shot from Weibo. Weibo takes down Jiggle from Horaa, who unfortunately loses a player. That was one who took early damage, and Weibo, not too far behind, is going to keep Horaa in their line of sights. And well, this is a team that performed exceptionally well in game number 4, performing in 2nd place, nearly taking over the Falcons position. They couldn't hold it down. Very impressed with No Fear, and I'm expecting him to be huge in this moment. Wild Regnum Karya trying to take down Alva from Alter Ego. So plenty of great moments, but for Wild, well, he's going to fall a bit short.
Rosemary had the off angle. Starting to falter. Meanwhile, over on that northern side, Falcons did find a player from Yangon Galacticos, and they will have Romeo almost on full surround now. They're putting this pressure on. Redox gets that flush. That's Koa taking the vehicle up in flames with it. The M249 for Koa. He's going to be able to lay down that damage. Nice and healthy. output there for the Falcons, and they disengage. They don't need to overextend here. It's
nice to see. But it's also for UNKOWN Galacticus. I mean, there's really nowhere they can go. Forward, you got 4 Thrives waiting on you, and then if you go backwards, you got Falcons who are going to be gatekeeping you. You go down a little bit further, you got Noxum Red Force. It's going to be a tough spot for UNKOWN Galacticus, a team that stayed so long in the blue zone. I mentioned No Fear. Well, he's currently pinned up. Sky is just a sliver of health. Rosemary desperately trying to hit the shots and does. Sky gets a bit antsy, jumping up to get additional vision. Well, it ends up being his undoing.
With that Mini 14 through the window just at the right time. Excellent pre-fire there from Rosemary. Alter Ego holding the high ground here. They have such powerful position over this next circle, and they want to try and maintain that space. They're doing well with 3 players on that north flank. They've got Krypton far out on the southeast side, and that's an off angle actually with shots over towards. Potentially over towards Sleepy if he gets a little bit too big for his boots.
Rosemary reposition, No Fear will stay down low. No reason to get too crazy on the smokes are out. Rosemary will continue to keep the set out. APG Team Secret start to get active. Dog unfortunately is down. He's going to have no effect in his fight. Let's see how he can get over and maybe get him back onto his feet. Reapus, nade in hand, throws it out. That looks like a nice cook and a great connection.
Doc is down, but the rest of it, can keep on going, rotate around, try and slip this one. Around the edge there they go, and actually Doc should be reasonable here. Close to Fireflux though, and that will be a lot of danger for this res. Will be very, very difficult to make it work. In the meantime, Team Secret actually getting handled across the way from Fireflux themselves. Shots overhead.
Fireflux been performing well. They're trying to go up the standings. This is their game to take. They started off hot and heavy. They currently sit at 6 eliminations.
सुकले फेरि चलायो रामायणको बाँड रनमतीको छोरो नकिन्छ हान्दिन्छ कि फेरि म चाहिँ बाँडले
everybody else in a vehicle, so that'll be my concern for No Fear and Rosemary. Well, No Fear tried to stay up as long as he could, but the shed, unfortunately, will be his demise.
Suk actually using the explosive arrows there, taking one of those knocks over towards Horaa. Currently out on that east side, have a little bit further to go here. That east side approach is really, really weird and finicky. They've got that long channel of road for Weibo to roll along on that northern side of the current circle. It's very little info, which means that they kind of need to head down south and try and put pressure on that way to approach towards Alter Ego, but that's really, really difficult in its own right? You've got Alter Ego who've been holding, we've seen how effective they are in that location. I don't think that Weibo are going to be able to get too much further here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And mind you, Falcons has also kind of got into their vicinity. Falcons have been the outskirt team consistently gunning down players, not overcommitting, but at least having a presence, keeping them in the back of their minds are their enemies. And what we see Suki, as you said, from sleeping from a distance, and I know Seven is loving that.
Was that the straight shot or the explosion that got him though? I have to double check. We'll get
sound engineer
and break it down the clip. That was kind of nuts though. You love to see it. Suk seems to be, you know, this of the bow and arrow. He loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it.
You know, it's funny, when I was doing my research coming into this, Seven specifically brought him up and said explosive arrows. Watch him with the bow. Let's watch Horaa now as they go for the challenge onto Falcons. Rosemary has them pinned in between. And Rosemary is a guy I do not want on my backside. He is truly devastating. We've witnessed it just a little bit earlier on Horaa Esports. Now he can go to Falcons, but Order cooking the nade, throws it out. Is it good? Well, a little bit of damage on Navallo. Redux will answer back with his own, but it doesn't have an area effect. And Redux is very weak. Order is taking on 2 members from Falcons and doing it in sensational fashion.
They have that back flank as well from Rosemary. Anita is feet, and Ralph and Redux both fall one after the other. The forward position and the middle spot for the Falcons both going down, and it looks like Weibo are actually going to be able to break through this one with Navallo falling. Only one player now left.
I wonder if APG starts to get active in this fight too, because Doc is getting dangerously close. There's Order from a distance, trying to take down. Can't do it. He backs away for the still a chance Falcons can maybe recover with the duo in this moment, but the pressure from Weibo is unrelenting. Koa, the tip of the spear, to try maybe get a couple of shots on the Order. Again, you can't really go back because you got Alter Egos who's going to be just behind you with Alva. You also got Weibo starting to push in, and the attack is true, but Order will fall. Suk jumps out. Koa's going to be down.
It's Navallo up against them. He can clutch these We've seen it before. And Weibo low. It's just Sook. And around the edge with a Scar goes for the spray down, but the heal is there. Narvalo now at a disadvantage. Narvalo takes the fight. And once more, Narvalo survives out in the edge of the zone, eliminating Weibo.
All right, the question is, can he get his teammate back into the fight? Where is his downed mate? Is it just behind him? You'd have to think so. There it is. Back in this fight would be huge. Meanwhile, APG starts to move in. Koa's been finished, and Narvalo once again has to take on the entirety of another roster. This time, a 1v4. Reapus with that off angle. I think this is probably going to be the end. Plus, you got Alva, who's going to be looking dead at you. Narvalo in dire straits. If he can somehow, some way survive and get into zone, it would be miraculous.
Narvalo slams it into reverse, trying to pull. Giving him a lifeline. He's actually down and into the road gully.
And he's dipping, he's dodging, he's swerving and moving. He's going up top to get that member of Alvala. Get the finish. And that's going to be an effort. I felt Falcons from the start to the finish never really truly had a home, never truly had a legitimate route to stay safe. They were putting a lot of pressure on teams, but they were never able to establish themselves in a specific area and play for late game. That's just the way it goes. Miraculously though, UNKOWN Galacticus is doing quite well. I expected them to be eliminated a little bit earlier on, but for APG, Alter Egos, let's see how this fight ends up unfolding. Alter Egos got to do it as a duo.
Horaa and Krypton will have to play it off one another. The circle kind of shifted away from them right now. DRX are in the center. They're by that roadside. They've got a lot of pressure outwards. Not too many threats to be sent their way. Fireflux, they're kind of on a linear approach from the south side. Whilst they have all 4 players alive, they've managed to rack up 7 elims, sure, but they are right with their backs to the blue zone and Power marauding around them as well.
Jeez. Yo, Top, go off, my boy. That's 2 down from Thunder Talk. Outputting the damage tremendously. I say 2 down, 1 manages to get out with his life, but just with a sliver of hell. Jing down low. I don't know if it's going to happen. Reefus, this might be a nice nade. It's cooked well. It's thrown out. Doc just below, and he'll take off a sliver of health. Not much, but keeps the pressure on Zing. You know he doesn't feel comfortable in this moment. And for APG, on a tear. They're only on 4 eliminations, but at this rate, I don't know where they're going to end up.
A little bit more damage sent over to him, but the first aid was already ticking up. He will be healed. This is the regroup coming on through. A nice drop on the smoke there. Let's just go for the weapon spot, but the ammo's already low, but they get it. Nonetheless, over the driver as well. Sitting will be taken down, and now Sing continues to be under pressure. However, they can't breach this high ground just yet. With Ida over the way, there's so much going on in this northeast quadrant.
APG holding on tight. Mind you, still 4 strong. You mentioned Ida, they're going to be just up ahead, and they look to be progressing forward just a bit more. So for APG, it's imperative that they focus the fights correctly. And Aaron, most likely going to be the first one targeted. ZL starts to move up towards that rock. Reefus down low, still trying to keep Thunder Talk in check on the low ground. I love where APG is currently at, and I have to favor them in this fight. But again, if they don't do this properly, Ida is going to eat them alive.
Darkin with the nade pulled over towards APG. Thinks better of it. Waiting for someone to give some information away. So all 4 players alive on the northeast side. They continue their march here for Alpha Gaming. We have been hoping for more from this roster. The names they've got have some prestige, and Reefus looks to start to pick up the pace here, but backed off the angle, they'll have to take another crack.
5 eliminations for APG. This could be a first place game. They could take the first place position. Alter Egos are already out. They're going to lose it. UNKOWN Galacticus most likely has already passed them up. Scarface on your screen. Now Fireflux, again, a tremendous game. Nearly double digits already. 4 members still alive. They started early, and they have refused to slow down. They now start to challenge APG, but Reefus, he's deadly. That man has been hitting shot after shot, and 1 member from Fireflux is now down.
Ziol able to find Madcap. A nade over towards Ziol's position, and top is the trade-off here. Scarface forwards, does a lot of work against them, but will not win that trade. Gonna get flushed as well, almost certainly there. And have to fight on as 3 for Fireflux, but hang on a minute, no, because Madcap's down.
That's right.
He's all the way out on the flank. I think that res is coming through, though.
To see, catch a distance, trying to keep APG at bay. Meanwhile, Ida, has been there, but not really. You know, could they have taken advantage of this third party? Maybe, but they're well within zone. So the question is, really, can Thunder Talk even start to break in? APG, once this fight does end up concluding, if it does against Fireflux, who have managed to recover, you mentioned those revives, well, now they're going to be a 4-man unit. And I like their chances a lot better in the moment APG starts to regroup.
Like Fireflux might be able to keep all 4 of their players alive as well. So 2 full force squads on the eastern side. Something also monumental could be happening. It's brewing, it's bubbling under right now. But Power Esports could be on their way to their first placement point. We've got 10 teams remaining. 2 more need to drop.
That is true. But of course, they are at 0 eliminations. Winner, winner, chicken dinner with 0 elims to keep the narrative alive. Let's find out. Well, this is the first time we've seen them really get active this game as they tried to take over the high ground over Fireflux. We've watched Fireflux and APG go toe-to-toe with each other. Fireflux looked to be on their wits' end, but they managed to get their teammates back up. And in fact, this secondary fight looks great. Scarface, let's do it, boy. Continue to push up, get the downs while one comes in, but he's going to be traded out. Metcalf, though, he's truly devastating, but APG answers back, but only for a matter of time before Catch says enough is enough. We're done fighting you. We're the winners.
Everybody turned to pulp on the northeast side of Verdan. Wants more points here with 9 teams remaining. If Fireflux go down now, Power will have earned their first placement point. It's only a matter of time. And a big nade from Ida to close it out. And that is a guaranteed placement point for Power. They're off the mark.
Tarkin throws a beautiful nade, gets 3 from Fireflux and takes them out instantaneously. And now you got Power, who have been setting up quite nicely to gatekeep the winner from that engagement. In this case, happens to be Ida Esports, who now is focused on Thunder Talk, who stayed alive miraculously as a duo on the low ground. They took heavy losses, but they're giving it right back.
They stayed out of the fight for the time being, but now they want to try and wade back on in. King steps a little bit too close to the fire and does get burned, hits the deck just in time to avoid the spray down. And Thunder Talk keep the pressure on with Darkin falling. That's going to slow Ida down. He's going to have to force that res out. Darkin not really in a safe spot with the blue zone pushing in 15 seconds. Not a lot of time to operate here.
Aaron thought about it. Do I go for the res? Do I go for the challenge? Well, Jing throws a nay. This could be 2, and it's close enough. Aaron takes some damage. Another one starts to go in, but it's going to be a little bit too far. And now for Aaron, really the last hope for Ida. Potentially another one to, I don't know, output some damage, but all eyes on Aaron in the moment. It is amazing. Thunder Talk has put up this much of a fight. They're towards the bottom. They desperately need points to elevate themselves towards the top 5 running, but 4 eliminations, their best game we have seen so far, and it could get even better.
Looks like Aaron will go down last. And Ida, very, very down on their luck. Now it's just Emre who was across the way, disengaged from that fight for the longest time. Finally, one of the Power players gets taken away from this, and Easy on the forefront will need a little bit of a rescue mission from the rest of the team. Not going to be easy, and actually it's Ragnar who gets caught on the sidelines. So Easy able to find that shot, and DRX now starting to come alive here. They've been in this compound for the longest time, and they want to try and inflict pain now onto the rest of the circle, but El Hadji is still on the hunt.
Yes, he is. For Ragnar's sake, though, I think he tried to get a little bit too fancy on the off angle, and it ended up being his undoing. And, well, he loses his life in the meantime. For Power, though, they look great. DRX is the only team, though, who is left alive with 4 members. But Power's positioning is great. They're hitting wonderful shots, but you gotta appreciate DRX. Able to utilize this low ground, this little divot. They're gonna be devastating. Power, it's gonna be hard to knock DRX off of this spot.
Yangon Galacticos as well on that northern side. Going to be difficult to navigate there. You've got solos on every single side of the circle, and right now the most dangerous one is probably Loxy on that southwest edge for Regnum Karya.
I would say so. Loxy could be devastating. Say Cloud, though, hits a nice shot, and that's going to be 2 from Power, dropping off, and the chances of making it to top 3 to the podium now ends. But as you said it best, they do get some placement points, so there is a positive for him.